Yeah, hello and welcome to the Conscious Entrepreneur Pathfinder, where we will look at the 9 stages on the entrepreneur's journey and the success recipes that are needed to climb up, from one level to the next. And my intention with this mini course is that we will completely demystify and clarify everything that you need to know to plan your path to, ever greater entrepreneurial achievements. And my intention is that all the main secrets for growth will be revealed here. So the big picture secrets, so not the little tiny tactical details, but the big picture strategic details will all be revealed. So there'll be no more secrets by the time we're done. And I think it's very likely that you haven't ever seen anything like this. Something this comprehensive and actionable. We are going to experience this journey that, let's call it from zero to billions, all right? So as you can see on the screen, at the bottom left, you've got the letter A, and at the top right, you've got the letter B. So at letter A represents the journey for an entrepreneur who's struggling with finances, mostly in debt, not even cash flow positive. Then B is at the billionaire level. So we're going to look at that whole journey, step by step, experience it, and get to know what is required at each level so that you can get to the next level. Does it sound good? So anyways, my name is David Cameron Gikandi, and I'm very grateful for your time and presence. So let's get started. Now, real quick, just to summarize this image, as you can see, we'll start from the bottom left. From the left side of the image. As you can see, there's 3 labels. You got the one that says self-employed, you got business owner, you got the investor. Now, typically, most people move up that journey. They start off, maybe they were employed, and then they become self-employed. And, quite often they think they're in business, but they actually, they are in business, but they're not yet a business owner. Being self-employed is very different from being a business owner. So you've got 3 steps that you have to sort of go through as a self-employed person before you start becoming a true business owner, somebody with a proper functioning organization. And then you got 3 steps on that journey until you can become what is called an investor. An investor could own their own business or multiple businesses or even shares in other people's businesses. But in any case, we're going to look at it from the point of view of an investor who owns their own businesses. So not investing in other people's businesses, but investing in their own multiple businesses. So that's the journey we're going to get into. And if you want to look at the same exact same thing, so here we were looking at it in terms of like a path. So this time we're going to look at it in terms of columns. So this screen represents exactly what we just looked at, but just arranged it differently with a bit more detail. All right. Now, if you look, you've got 3 phases. Again, we say it's self-employed, business owner, and investor. And under self-employed phase 1, people have to go through a stage where they stop bleeding. In other words, they break even. They're no longer like living hand to mouth and always short of money. So you've got to solve that problem first. And then the next problem is to transcend survival, because at that stage, a person maybe is no longer like in, cash flow negative, like in step 1, like in the, bleeding stage, but they don't really have much positive cash flow left over to really do meaningful things. So they're probably paying their bills and all that, but that's it. And then they're left with pretty much nothing. And then the 3rd step in self-employed is whereby they transcend hustling because they've fully mastered their personal finances. So it's no longer a problem. Personal finances are no longer a thing to concern one's mind with. That stage comes, where you're no longer worried about money personally. And at the same time, you're able to finally start literally building a proper business, which now we go to phase 2, the second column, you can see over there, business owner. So the first step is to build a team. Okay. And within building a team, there's a lot that goes in there because you also have to be able to manage that team. You need systems, SOPs, processes, automations, and XYZ, that kind of thing. And then after that, the next stage is now being able to lead the team properly. And again, we'll get into the details of that, as we go through these slides. And then after that, you recruit leadership. This is where people start talking about, hiring, CEO, CFO, whatever, those people that are able to allow you to step out of the leadership role so that now you've got somebody else doing the leadership for you. And then that's when you become an investor. And over there, we've got three steps. I'm not going to get into the details with them right now, but you've got steps number 7 over there, as you can see on your screen. It says leader transformation, 8 hold trust, and number 9 game changer. Let's not talk about that at this stage. We'll talk about it in future slides, in slides further down this presentation, because there's a lot more detail in there than we can try and summarize at this level yet. You need to understand certain things so that you can get to that understanding of the investor stage. Now, what I suggest is that you can use this presentation that we're getting into to strategically plan your future out, so that you can craft your vision as an entrepreneur, and so that you can know what to execute next, and so that you can know how to manifest deliberately, step by step. Because sometimes, we all love the whole thing about manifesting our reality, but sometimes we're trying to manifest something that is it's doable, but we don't quite understand the practicalities of what it is we're asking to manifest. Because even manifesting, although it's, even whether you're using law of attraction, because that works and everything, you still have to deal with material reality as well. So, you can strategically manifest. You can manifest deliberately. And what I'm suggesting is that you can use this this whole journey that we're mapping out together here as a tool to create your own strategy and to manifest things deliberately. And then the other thing I would like to say before we move on to the next is that, and this is a big secret, so you need to really understand this. The point is that, as you can see, we've got 9 levels here, right? Nine levels of the entrepreneurial game. The important thing is to understand is that each of these 9 levels or 9 stages, each of those stages transforms you as a person, and it also transforms your business. Okay, in radical ways. And this means that what got you to one stage is not the same thing that's going to get you to the next stage. In other words, you can't keep doing the same thing just harder and harder, or with more and more work or hours or more dedication, and expect that this extra effort is all that you need to get to the next stage or the next level. It will not, because, like again we said, what got you to one stage is not what will get you to the next stage. And if you can internalize that right away from the get-go, you'll be halfway to winning this game. That idea that you can't keep doing the same thing and expect to progress. Each stage is unique. It has its requirements. And to move to the next requirements, you need to sort of be different. So now let's look at the success recipes, the 3 or 4 or 5, whatever actions you need at each stage, so it can get you to the next level. And before we do that, I just want to give you a quick summary of how many entrepreneurs are at each stage all over the world and what the core challenge is. So now we're looking at the first 3 levels, which is, the self-employed level, the self-employed phase. And these first 3 levels are all about learning how to master your personal flow of money, your personal flow of energy, time, and attention. This is pretty much the focus of this level, okay? And if you look at the lower stage, stop bleeding, this is where people who are sort of like often in debt and in, cash flow negative. There's about 352 million entrepreneurs around the world. This is an estimate, obviously. Don't quote me and tell me and go around saying David said this is a fact. This is very much an estimate. So nobody really knows how to count them, but it's a fair estimate, I think. Anyways, so there's about 352 million entrepreneurs at this level all around the world today, okay? And then in the next stage where, the number of people, entrepreneurs who've managed to at least stop being always in the debt, not living in the red zone all the time, it's about 132 million entrepreneurs at this level. In other words, and these people are just above broke. I mean, they've got enough to survive, they can cover their bills and everything, but there's nothing left over to invest in themselves or in their business and so on, And then the next stage where the next stage, it's called transcending hustling, and you'll see why it's called that in a second. But the next stage has about 37 million entrepreneurs at this level, and this is a level where the entrepreneur has extra money at the end of each week or every month, and they can invest, they can start to sort of grow properly. And this is where we start to see 6-figure earners, so people earning $100,000 a year or more. This is where we start to see them, and there's about 37 million entrepreneurs at this level around the world. And on all these stages, usually you're a sole operator. It's only you in your business. And some at the later stage you might have an assistant or something, somebody, maybe a subcontractor or something, or whatever, someone you found on Fiverr or Upwork, or maybe locally in your, somebody helping you locally where you live, or remotely, maybe a virtual assistant, whatever. But it's basically all on you. Then on the next stage, the next 3 levels, they're about learning. This level, this phase is where you become a business owner, and this phase is all about learning how to master the flow of money, energy, time, and attention in the marketplace or in the industry you're in. So here, the self-employed level is kind of like you're mastering personal flow of money, energy, time, and attention. And at this level, you're mastering the flow of money, energy, time, and attention in the marketplace. So you've already mastered your personal, now you're looking at it marketplace or industry. And once again, you got three stages in this phase. And just to say, just to look at the number of people, entrepreneurs around the world at each one of these stages, you've got 42 million entrepreneurs at the builder team stage, you've got 15 million entrepreneurs at the leader team, and 6 million entrepreneurs at the recruit leadership stage. And the important thing here to see for me is that you can start to see how the number of entrepreneurs at each level are reducing. I don't know if you've noticed that. So as you can see over here, at the very lowest level, you've got 352 million entrepreneurs who are just trying to get off the ground. And once you get into business, you've got far fewer, and they become fewer and fewer and fewer as you climb up that pyramid. Does that make sense? And then here we start to see single-digit millionaires appear. You start to see, millionaires earning up to $3 million, and then at the last step, you got millionaires earning up to about, let's say, $10 million roughly. And also, we start to see that the team size is also increasing. So slowly, this person is starting to learn how to build a proper team, and then how to lead that team, whereby that team is dependent on your leadership, and then towards the end, the team has become independent of your leadership. It's got its own leadership, but it's still one team. So the level of sophistication is increasing. The person is learning how to build a team, manage the team, and then create management for that team. Okay, but they're still not yet sophisticated enough to run multiple teams, and that's where you get into the investor stage. And these final 3 levels are all about learning how to master societal and global flow of money, energy, time, and attention. Okay, so here, personal flow, marketplace or industry flow, global societal flow. You see how that's kind of changing? And then, as you can see, the population, the number of entrepreneurs at each level, again, it's much thinner. So we got 2 million entrepreneurs in the first level in this phase, and then you got 1.5 million entrepreneurs roughly at the second level, and then maybe 480,000 or maybe 500,000 entrepreneurs at the top level, and about 2,800 of those are the billionaires. And then you can also see the financial state of these people is starting to climb. So from about $10 million to 30 million in the first stage of this phase, and then up to about $100 million in the second, and then 100 million to billions in the final one. And you can also see here, at the bottom of each of these black data sheets, this person has started to master having multiple teams that are independent. Okay. So think of Richard Branson, for example, or Oprah Winfrey or whatever, they got multiple businesses that are professionally run. They don't have to show up in the office every day 9 to 5 with the rest of the team. You know what I mean? So this is why they're called investors. The sophistication level has really gone up. Now let's look at all that in detail. So first we'll summarize the actions that each stage requires, and I'm not going to read through them here. I'm just showing you that they do exist. We do have very specific actions that you need to move from each stage, from one step to the other. We'll look at them in detail. I'm just showing you that they exist. My point is that Remember the statement we said that each level requires, you can't do the same thing, keep doing the same thing and expect to climb these levels, because each level has a different requirement. You're literally becoming a different person as you go up these levels. And that's where the whole idea of personal development and mindset cultivation comes in, because you gotta change as a person. Okay, so I hope this is making sense. Let's get into it. Level number one, let's start at the very bottom. Level number one. Alrighty, stop bleeding. This is level one. Now, just a quick orientation. As you can see, what we've done is I've arranged these slides such that you can keep track of where we are on the right side. As you can see, you got the arrow pointing up, which shows that we are ascending. As we go, we are actually going upwards. We are ascending, and we are ascending through the three phases: the self-employed, business owner, and investor phase. And each one of those phases has 3 steps or 3 stages. And so right now, if you look at the bottom left, you got the number 1 position, stop bleeding, and it's got the yellow or orange. What color is that? Or yellow, orange, whatever. Thing that shows you that we're on level 1, so you can use that to keep track. All right, let's look at the characteristics of level 1, stop bleeding. Like we said, the core challenge of this and the next 2 levels in the self-employed phase is mastering personal flow. Personal flow of what? Money, time, attention, energy, that. So anyways, global population estimated at 352 million entrepreneurs at this level. Financial state is, they're often in debt, in the red. Personally and or the business itself. Okay, but usually you'll find that it's personal first. Okay, anyways, team size, usually only yourself. Self-employed, that's why it's called self-employed. Even though you might be in business at this stage, you're still self-employed. You're not a business owner, although you're in business. All right, so that's going to be the same case for the next 2 stages. And sometimes somebody might have a virtual assistant or something, but they don't really have a functioning organization, a team. They got an assistant here and there, if at all. So let's look at what it feels, acts, and looks like. What is the experience? What is the experience at this level? Here, a person feels like a victim, out of control, struggling, in denial. In other words, they're not really looking at reality, facing it with radical honesty, their personal reality, their business reality, whatever. They're in denial in a lot of things. There's a lot of wishful thinking here, not really wanting to face the facts of what it takes to do X. There's anxiety, there's stress, there's panic often, there's uncertainty, exhaustion, a lot of complaining, judging, blaming. There's a lot of fear. There tends to be a lot of workaholism, so just overworking, trying to juggle too many balls up in the air. There's often low self-esteem, or at least reduced self-esteem. Even if it's not low, it's less than optimal. There's a lot of excuses flying around. Sometimes people pick fights. There's a lot of procrastination, because who wouldn't procrastinate when there's so many things and so little clarity and very little help, you see? And then the challenges include internal noise. There's a lot of noise going on within the person. Confusion, there's dabbling, there's chasing shiny objects, trying to do everything all at once, all by yourself. There's, like we said, leaking time, leaking money. That's why it's called bleeding. So you got to stop bleeding. There's a lot of leaking time, money, attention, and energy. A lot of energy leaks. And the favorite excuses at this level include the excuses that you most often hear from people at this level include, stuff like, oh, I've got a lot of ideas that I want to pursue, but I don't know. I want to, there's this doubling. There's like a lot of ideas that I want to pursue. You know what I mean? And then there's the idea that, oh, I'm stuck at this level because I don't have income, But then they don't want to think about, maybe how about cutting some of your expenses? How about trying to live within your means and solving that problem first? And then trying to earn more as a separate, different challenge instead of trying to, you know what I mean? Like, there's this idea of living beyond means, and sometimes it's a genuinely people sometimes don't have enough money at this level, so there's very little to cut out. But a lot of people at this level, there's a lot they can cut out, but they don't want to do it, And then at the same time, they believe that, oh, I can't earn more, the government or this and that is blocking me or whatever, And then there's a lot of expectations that, everything will magically change. You know what I mean? And also there's a lot of people at this level that believe that the business needs the money more than they do. And so they pay themselves last after they've paid everything in the business. And then what ends up happening is that they earn so little that a person with a job, an employed person typically earns more than these people here at this level because they pay themselves last and way too little. Everything else goes into the business and that they're trying to build. And that's fair enough. A lot of people have to go through this level, but it's important to be aware that it's a level and not to kind of like take it at, the denial. It's important to get rid of the denial and understand what's going on and then address this problem or this challenge and solve it, So there's a lot of those kind of struggles going on. Now, the goal of this level is to break even in personal cash flow. Like we said, it's mostly personal, not even the business. Quite often people say, oh, I'm negative because my business is negative. You got to kind of treat those as two separate things. You got you as a person, and then you got the business. So you got to make sure you as a person are cash flow positive. At least you're not drowning in debt or cash flow shortages. And then the business is a separate thing that you got to figure out and solve separately. Okay? So I know it's easier said than done, but that's the reality of it. So the whole idea here is to go black, as in stop being in the red so often, stop being in the negative so often. Get that personal financial stability. And therefore, the main actions to focus on taking to move to the next stage, to move to stage 2 or level 2, is these 3 actions. I don't know why I call them steps. I should have called them actions. Anyways, doesn't matter. Step, action, whatever. So know thyself. This is really so important. Knowing yourself, being radically honest with yourself, accepting yourself. These are so important. They actually start to change your reality, and then knowing your ikigai. Ikigai is a Japanese word that means your reason for being. And it's a very practical thing. Look, this is a whole different thing. Just Google Ikigai and you'll see the image, the picture. It will show you, it will explain everything. It's very easy to understand. But it's knowing your reason for being in a way whereby society is willing to pay for that reason, okay? So in other words, trying to figure out what your skills are, what your passion is, what the world needs, and what you can get paid for, and seeing where those 4 things intersect. And then another thing to be clear on is to know your niche. To know who your dream customer is, who is your perfect customer avatar, to know who your tribe is, who are your people, who is your who, and then serve only them and no one else. No one else, as in literally you stop serving other people and focus only on your who, in your niche, according to your ikigai. There's this alignment. That's what I'm trying to say. So this is the single biggest game changer at this level. Knowing yourself, knowing your who. Who do you serve and why, And the funny thing is, most of us, until we literally and finally get this point, we don't get this point. We don't even realize, we don't even seem to understand the hidden power of knowing exactly who you serve, what problem you solve for them. We don't even understand that. Like, one day the penny drops and we're like, I get it. Why didn't I see that before? But it takes some people. It took me a long time to get this. I kept hearing it, but I didn't actually get it. Then when I finally got it, it's like this light bulb moment. So I'm stressing this because if you find yourself at this level and you haven't got this, you need to get this. It's not a thing to just kind of like brush through and, it's a thing to sit down and really meticulously define, okay? For example, most people at this stage think that their business should serve everybody. And that's actually the problem. They're trying to be a generalist to serve everybody. They need to be a specialist because a specialist always earns more money than a generalist. So become a specialist, or start to become a specialist here. Throughout your whole journey, you'll become more and more of a specialist, but this is the way to start, and you do so by knowing at this stage very clearly who you are, who you serve, what problem you solve for them, and why you do it. And then you master communicating that persuasively. So who you are, who you serve, what problem you solve, and why you do it. Master how to communicate that briefly, persuasively, because that is your value proposition, and you need to communicate it loud and clear to your prospects. And this way, you start to close more sales faster, because now your message is loud and clear, and the people, your who, will recognize it and go, yep, that's me, and I need that. You see? So you start to close more sales faster, and that improves your cash flow. And then the second step action is to start measuring and controlling the flow of your money, your time, your attention, and energy, so you stop leaking. And that includes proper financial accounting, proper money management. Money management may be the only way to break free from a cycle of overspending and struggling with finances. Yes, everyone thinks, oh, if I only earned more, I wouldn't struggle with finances. But actually, the problem is lack of money management, measuring it, planning for it. Giving every dollar a job, knowing this one is for that, this one is for that. So instead of just being surprised, oh shit, I got all these fucking bills and I've got this pile of money, let me just start doing the bills. That is random. That's kind of like reactionary. That is not money management, that's reaction. You know what I mean? So this needs to change. To gain control, we must learn how to measure our money on an individual level in order to understand what truly matters, and not just for personal peace of mind, but also when transitioning into managing a business account. This also is the same discipline, So in essence, tackling your own financial flow is a first step towards real progress. It also means increased discipline, reliability, consistency, Also, think about implementing a daily routine. This is all about flow, stopping to bleed. Implement a daily routine. Guard your time. Maybe the morning section, literally block it so that people don't just come into your life and dictate what happens next. You guard your time, you guard your energy, you guard your attention. Eliminate distractions, surround yourself with support, get rid of energy vampires, get rid of negative and dramatic people if any are hounding you, whatever, just get rid of them. Or set them a particular time, maybe in the afternoon when you've got most of your most important things done. You know what I mean? Don't just let people walk into your life and do whatever they want at any random time, So in short, guard your flow so that you stop leaking or and finding yourself short. More than anything else, this is all about discipline, boundaries, and that sort of thing, you see? And then the third step or action is to create and follow a sound future vision that pulls you forward. Listen, clarity is gold. Clarity will bring you focus and so much more. That vision should be big enough, your vision, should be big enough so it can change your life. So it's not just about like, oh yeah, I've got a vision to buy a new car and a new house. That's like, yes, it's a material change and it's nice, but it doesn't change your life. It just makes your life a bit more comfortable, you could say. So the vision should be big enough to change your life, and even better, to change other people's lives positively. It doesn't have to change the world. It could be like a few people around you, but change life. Like, that's what makes it exciting. So having a big reason why, something that is bigger than you, will motivate you to change your ways. And if we don't have a well-formed, compelling vision, and if we don't focus on such a vision, our energy tends to be directed by other people's vision for us, or by society, by mass consciousness, or by our default subconscious programming, our conditioning. And none of those choices are great. So if you don't have your own clear, well-defined vision, you're going to be following other people's things or weird conditioning and whatever. So have a vision and then work backwards from your desired future vision. So you need to know what your target number is, what your target lifestyle is, and then work backwards from that. You need to, face reality instead of avoiding it. You need to acknowledge and accept where you are now, where do you wish to be, and by when, that kind of stuff, It's a plan. Life may not always work out according to plan, but it's important to have a plan, So you need a 3-year vision and a plan, and then break that down annually into like the next, year 1, year 2, and year 3. So you don't need a 5-year one. You could, but 3 is kind of good enough, You could do 5, 10, whatever, but 3 seems to be in that zone of realistic and also not too short. So 3 years, break it down annually. And then for the current year, for year 1, break it down quarterly. And then for the current quarter, break it down monthly. Then for the and then and then weekly. You see what I mean? So that way you know what you're doing every day. It's deliberate. And your vision needs to be crystal clear, yet dynamic enough to change as needed. Because as you grow, it will change. So it's not like you're stuck with the vision you set. It's dynamic. So in a nutshell, this level is where you start to learn how to focus, how to measure and control your flow. Flow of what? Money, energy, time, attention, service, products, whatever, you see? So I hope you are starting to see that although we're talking about entrepreneurship, there's a lot of personal development that is needed on that journey. You know why? Because there's a trap. We are all trapped in something called conditioning. The way we were raised and the way we raised ourselves, because, we parent ourselves, but we also get parented by our parents, by our society, but we are also parenting ourselves. So that is conditioning us. Our society, where we got born, how we got, all that stuff is conditioning us. And it creates a trap. This trap is what we call, in quotes, comfort zone. Some people's comfort zones are very uncomfortable, but they're used to it. So they want to leave. They want to leave the comfort zone. What is a comfort zone? Well, if you think of it as like this pyramid on the left says, the human side sort of starts with identity. And then based on the identity, your I am this. The way you look at yourself, your self-view and your worldview, that is your identity, your self-view and your worldview. Your identity sort of then drives your beliefs and your values, and this then sort of drives the skills and capabilities you have, or you acquire, or you think you're capable of or not capable of, and then that in turn drives your behaviors, and that creates your environment. And at the very top of that, above identity, we've got spirituality and purpose. So to change your comfort zone, you sort of need to look at your identity. You understand? Like, if you don't look at how to change if a lot of people just try to change their behaviors. This is what I'm trying to say. A lot of people try to superficially to change their environment. Oh, if I get a few, paint this house nicely, and then whatever, my life will change. If I get a new house, my life will change. If I get a new car, my life will change. Yes, a little bit, but it's not real change, you see. And then others just try and change their behaviors. Oh, if I just start waking up at 5 a.m., or if I start being more committed to not procrastinating, everything will be good. Yes, good, but it's very hard to change behavior without changing beliefs, values, identity, you see. And one great way, and now that's why we got this kind of bubble above identity, you got spirituality and purpose. If you want to start changing your identity, you got to look at the spiritual dimension first, and then you got to look at the purpose. And then there are ways from starting to investigate that, there are ways then it makes it easier to change your identity. When you can do that, it makes it easier to change your beliefs and values. When you do that, it makes it easier to, boost your skills and capabilities. When you do that, it makes it easier to have the behaviors that are useful or helpful to your goals. When you do that, it makes it easier to cultivate an environment that is actually congruent and supportive of you. You see? So this is sort of in summary, personal development. It's got components of spirituality, purpose, identity, beliefs, whatever, you see? So that's why we're saying the core driver of all this journey is personal growth. And then emergent manifesting. Emergent manifesting, because manifesting works best when instead of just having a vision board and visualizing and saying affirmations and that's it, when you look at your whole being, your self-view and your worldview, that's how you really manifest change. The whole being, not just a vision board, not just an affirmation, but your whole being. You see, that's emergent manifesting. So this graphic represents the journey out of your comfort zone. You got to go through the fear zone, and then you got to learn new things, and then you grow. You see, your comfort zone expands. So as you can see, the comfort zone starts off very small, and then once you start facing your fears and changing your identity to make it bigger, your whole comfort zone expands, and then you learn new stuff, it expands. You see what I'm saying? This is literally growth diagrammed for you. So I hope that makes a lot of sense. This is the value of personal growth, because it makes everything else possible. There's two journeys happening here: the outer journey, the entrepreneurial journey, and then the inner journey, the personal growth journey. Thank you. Right. Let's go to level 2, transcending survival. And these are the characteristics of this level. The core challenge, once again, is mastering personal flow. The global population is an estimated 132 million entrepreneurs at this level. The financial state is just above broke with, enough to survive. Basically debt-free, or at least can manage to cover the debt, no worries. The debt repayments, either debt-free or able to, cover the debt repayments. However, there's nothing left over to invest, in any way, invest in the business, invest in anything, So in other words, this entrepreneur at this level has just enough to cover all expenses and stuff, but nothing else beyond, beyond that. So the team size, once again, usually only you, one person, maybe with a virtual assistant or something, or temporary help here and there, but basically it's a one-man show, one-woman show kind of thing, self-employed. Now the typical experience, what it feels, looks and acts like at this level. At level 2, entrepreneurs often literally feel like a battle survivor, like they're just surviving battles. So in a way it's good because it's above level 1. Level 1, the person feels like a victim of that battle. So level 1 is the battle victim. Level 2 is the battle survivor. Okay, but still battle. There's some relief, some more self-worth, some more joy than at the previous level. But at this stage, this entrepreneur still holds quite a lot of anxiety, stress, and exhaustion. And the procrastination is still there, the overwhelm is still there. And then the challenges include feeling stuck, feeling like no matter what they try, they can't scale, they can't grow. And at this level, boy, do they try. They try really, really hard. This is at the level where people believe that the harder they work, the better things get, So they get an A for effort, but what they don't understand is that working harder is not the solution. Okay. Now, some of the favorite excuses or limiting beliefs at this level include, the idea, like we said, the harder I work, the more I'll achieve. So I just gotta keep pushing harder, and I feel guilty if I don't go harder. And I feel guilty if I take care of myself first. So at this level, people have this badge of honor that overworking is actually like an honorable thing. You know what I mean? And the goal at this level, if somebody's at this level, their goal should be set at becoming cash flow positive personally, so that they get off the whole survival, that survival rat race. The idea here is to build, to have more coming in than going out personally. Okay. Therefore, the main actions or steps to take, the main actions to focus on, so you can move out of this level and into the next stage or level, is number 1, commit to becoming a true marketer. Marketing is the most important thing in business. The second most important thing, and the third most important thing in business is marketing. After that is sales, because you got to turn this market, the people you've marketed to, into people who see the value that you offer, so they can give you money and you can serve them well and truly. Okay, but number 1, 2, and 3 most important things is marketing. Number 4 is sales. Okay, so you can either do it yourself, or and become a true marketer yourself, or you can find a true marketer to help you do this. In whichever way, I don't know, part-time, contract, or partnership, I don't know, but it's up to you. There's a lot there, in what a true marketer is. And the reason why becoming a true marketer is so important is because, quite simply, you have to understand that there's a lot of strategic and tactical things that go into marketing. In other words, buyers don't just buy a product or a service. They just don't. It's just because you've got a product, maybe even a great product or a great service, doesn't mean people are just going to come out of the blue and give you money for it, because people don't just randomly buy products and services. What they buy is the marketing message and then the offer. They buy the message and the offer. The product or service is very much included in all that, but you don't do well just trying to sell the product saying, hey, this thing is $10, take it. Nah, that is very unsophisticated. It can work, but it usually doesn't, People buy the marketing message and the offer. So the sooner you learn how to turn your product into an irresistible offer, then the sooner you will learn how to, and then the sooner you learn how to market that offer, and not your product, but your offer. So number one, learning how to make an irresistible offer out of your product. And I'm not talking about a discount. There's a whole training on making offers, and we have it in our Creators Club somewhere, so you can get it there. But offers, crafting an offer is very different from giving somebody a discount. So that's not what we're talking about. So the sooner you understand how to turn your product into an irresistible offer, and the sooner you learn how to market that offer, with the right messaging and in the right places, to the right people, to the right who, then the sooner you'll start making a lot more money. So money is a result of your marketing and not of your products. It's very important to understand. Money is a result of your marketing, not of your products. Obviously, when people give you money, they expect your products or services, but the money actually comes because of marketing, not because you've got a product or a service. So people buy the marketing message, and the product simply delivers on the promise in that marketing message. Does that make sense? People buy into your marketing, not your product. If ever you try to sell your product directly, you will likely make very few sales compared to when you sell your irresistible offer backed by a powerful guarantee and a great marketing message and a bundled up whatever. There's a way to construct an irresistible offer. So I hope this is making sense. And then you got to deliver that offer. You got to learn how to create a hook, a good story, and then pitch the offer on the back of that hook and story. Hook, story, offer. So that's kind of like marketing in a nutshell, and it's the ability to make somebody understand the value of what it is that you're offering, to the point whereby they're like, shut up and take my money. I want this thing, that you're offering. So hook, story, offer. Okay. And then another secret of being a great marketer is growing your customer list. So bad marketers are the people who put ads that immediately try and sell a product to complete strangers. Those ads mostly fail because, think about it, when do you ever give a complete stranger your money? It rarely happens. It could, but it rarely happens. Usually it takes a while for you to get, know, like, and trust this stranger and and then you give them money, all right? So good marketers create ads that get prospects to hand over their contact information freely, and then the marketer uses that to follow up and nurture a relationship with those prospects over time, and then one day the prospect buys. So strangers are less likely to give you money, whereas people who know, like, and trust you are more likely to give you money again and again and again, as long as they're getting value back, right? So that's why good marketers focus on list building and systematic follow-up, by email, by ads, whatever, and then the sale kind of like happens because of that. The bulk of your sales are going to come from people you met like months ago. Very like 2-3% of your sales will come from people you meet today, on that day that you meet them. The day you meet them, they give you money. That's happens, but it's the minority. Yet that's what unsophisticated marketers do. They try and make the sale today to the person they met today. It could happen, but it doesn't always. Usually there's follow-up, there's this and that. So that's why great marketers follow up on list building, sales follow-up, and so on, So what else is there I can say about this? So when you think of marketing, think of it as the art of sort of changing your prospects' beliefs, changing their thoughts and their emotions, not in a manipulative way, but in a way that they're able to perceive the value that you're offering. Prospects need to believe that, number one, your product works. Number two, that, your product or service works. Number two, that it can work for them. And number three, that they can pull it off, that, it's this belief that they need to change, that, your product doesn't work. You need to change it to, it works. It doesn't work for me. You need to change it to, it can work for me. That kind of thing, So that's the key. That's what marketing really is, sort of, in a way. It's about shifting that, taking that person to the point whereby they're aware there is a problem, they have a problem, they're aware that a solution exists, they're aware that your product or service is the solution, and that it'll work for them, and that's when they buy. You see? So that's what marketing is. So if they don't perceive or see the value that you offer, even though you may have great value, if they cannot see it, if they cannot feel it personally, then they're not gonna give you money. And then think of marketing as presenting your offer and overcoming objections. So these are all elements of being a true marketer. When marketing is done properly, sales become effortless. Does that make sense? Yeah. And then you got to close the sale, which is presenting logical and emotional reasons why the prospect should act now. You see, they might already gone, yep, I believe you, your product is great, your service is great, I need it, I want it, but let me do it next week. So when closing the sale is learning how to make it now instead of next week, how to help them see that, okay? That look, if this is for you, if it can help you, why next week? Now, let's do it now, you know what I mean? So a true marketer masters those three things. Marketing, which is generating new leads and changing those leads into prospects, changing their levels of awareness, their thoughts and emotions such that they're able to perceive the value that you offer, And then number 2 is sales, which is presenting an irresistible offer and overcoming objections. And number 3 is closing, so which is presenting logical and emotional reasons why the prospect should act now. So once again, number 1, marketing, new leads, converting them, changing their awareness, their beliefs and so on, so they can perceive your value. That is marketing. 2 is sales, presenting that irresistible offer and overcoming objections. And 3 is closing, presenting logical and emotional reasons why the prospect should act now. You see those? That's what a true marketer is. And you got to commit to becoming that, mastering that, or getting somebody to help you if you really believe that's not your thing. And that's how your wallet gets fat. Number 2, or step 2, is defining your brand and your positioning properly. Simplifying your product and service offering so that your ideal customer better understands the value within. And some products and services are very complicated, and that's fine. That's what they're meant to be. There's some things you can't simplify, but you can at least simplify the messaging. You see what I mean? Clarify and focus on your, double down on your customer profile even narrower, define your who even more clearly. Who are you serving? What problem are you solving for them? Get to know what your perfect customer is like at a more intimate level. The more you know your perfect customer, their worries, their fears, their problems, the XYZ, as a human being, so you can really say, my typical perfect customer is like this person, The more you get clear on that, the more you can then define your positioning properly. In other words, what are you doing for them? And your brand, your position in your brand becomes clearer when you understand better who you're serving, So this also allows you to provide more targeted value, which means your sales will go up automatically. Yeah? Does that make sense? So focus. Really understand, who am I serving? What problem am I solving for them? And then this will allow you to then position yourself and your brand and your messaging better. Okay? And then it sharpens your market identity. You become known for a particular thing. Hey, if you want X, go to Dave. If you want Y, go to Jane. Whatever. You see? When you tighten that, you tighten your product to market fit. People get to know you for a specific thing. You start to become like a specialist in X, And that also then allows you to deepen your connection with your marketplace. So this whole idea of narrowing your niche is what allows you to dominate that niche. The smaller the niche, or rather the better defined it is, the more dominance you can have over that niche. Does that make sense? So we think that the broader we go, the more money we'll make. It's usually the other way around. At some level, yeah, the broader you go, like Amazon. Amazon makes money by going broad. But for most people, especially when they're starting, you gotta go narrower and deeper. Much more narrow, much more deeper. Narrow and deep. You see? I'll give you a very quick example. Like, For example, Domino's Pizza. Domino's Pizza, man, their pizza doesn't taste great, right? And they know it. They even admit it. It's not like the best pizza in the world. However, they are unapologetically focused on people who want an affordable pizza fast. That's it. Yeah? And they serve that tribe religiously. They're not saying the tastiest pizza or the most famous. They're saying affordable pizza fast. Affordable pizza fast. That's it. They're not trying to make you say they're the greatest chefs in the world. They don't give a damn about that, So if you're not in that tribe that wants an affordable pizza fast, you can go to hell for all they care. They don't care. They don't care about you if you're not the person that wants affordable pizza fast. They don't care about the complaints that this pizza doesn't taste as great as XYZ. They don't care about that. If you want gourmet pizza, go somewhere else. If you're willing to pay 10 times more for a pizza, they don't want to hear from you. You see what I'm saying? So everyone in the world knows exactly what to call Domino's for and not what to bother calling them for. It's that simple. The marketplace understands the speciality of Domino's. And it's a lucrative and effective specialty. Do you see what I mean? Narrow down and clarify your niche even farther, even tighter, narrow and deep, and then dominate that narrow slice of the market. If you do that, you will suddenly become the recognized authority in that space, and you'll start making a whole lot more sales to people in that niche. Then number 3, step 3 or action 3. The goal is to increase your cash flow, right? So one way to do that is to find existing cash flows, flows of abundance, and then join them. So instead of trying to dig a well in a desert and hoping that you find water, find a huge river that's already flowing, and then connect yourself to it, through partnering with it or contributing to it or whatever. You see, what I mean? Serving it. So don't try to do everything yourself. Instead, find people and companies who are already aligned to your passion, your mission, your interests, your niche, whatever, and who are already in the flow of abundance, and then find ways to work with them or to get yourself in there, to add value to them, to tap into their flow so they boost your flow for you. You see? So increasing those types of connections, those kinds of positioning, those kind of placing yourself. So you gotta find who's got my money and then go there. These were things such as influencer marketing, Dream 100 marketing, joint ventures, partnering, networking, affiliating, participating in Facebook and LinkedIn groups and so on. All that comes into play when it comes to finding a flow of abundance and joining it. So those are the 3 core things to focus on. And if you focus on those 3 things, if you find yourself at level 2 and you focus on those 3 things, you'll find yourself getting out of level 2 very, very quickly and easily. Although we're talking about entrepreneurship, there's a lot of personal development that is needed on that journey. You know why? Because there's a trap. We are all trapped in something called conditioning. The way we were raised and the way we raised ourselves, because, we parent ourselves, but we also get parented by our parents, by our society, but we are also parenting ourselves. So that is conditioning us. Our society, where we got born, how we got, all that stuff is conditioning us. And it creates a trap. This trap is what we call, in quotes, comfort zone. Some people's comfort zones are very uncomfortable, but they're used to it. So they don't want to leave. They don't want to leave the comfort zone. What is a comfort zone? Well, if you think of it as like this pyramid on the left says, the human side sort of starts with identity. And then based on the identity, your I am this, the way you look at yourself, your self-view and your worldview, that is your identity, your self-view and your worldview. Your identity sort of then drives your beliefs and your values, and this then sort of drives the skills and capabilities you have or you acquire or you think you're capable of or not capable of. And then that in turn drives your behaviors, and that creates your environment. And at the very top of that, above identity, we've got spirituality and purpose. So to change your comfort zone, you sort of need to look at your identity. You understand? Like, if you don't look at how to change your if a lot of people just try to change their behaviors. This is what I'm trying to say. A lot of people try to superficially to change their environment. Oh, if I get a few, paint this house nicely, and then whatever, my life will change. If I get a new house, my life will change. If I get a new car, my life will change. Yes, a little bit, but it's not real change, you see. And then others just try and change their behaviors. Oh, if I just start waking up at 5 a.m., or if I start like being more committed to not procrastinating, everything will be good. Yes, good, but it's very hard to change behavior without changing beliefs, values, identity, you see. And one great way, and now that's why we got this kind of like bubble above identity, you got spirituality and purpose. If you want to start changing your identity, you got to look at the spiritual dimension first, and then you got to look at the purpose. And then there are ways from there, from starting to investigate that, there are ways then it makes it easier to change your identity. When you can do that, it makes it easier to change your beliefs and values. When you do that, it makes it easier to, boost your skills and capabilities. When you do that, it makes it easier to have the behaviors that are useful or helpful to your goals. When you do that, it makes it easier to cultivate an environment that is actually congruent and supportive of you. You see? So this is sort of like, in summary, personal development. It's got components of spirituality, purpose, identity, beliefs, whatever, you see? So that's why we're saying the core driver of all this journey is personal growth. And then emergent manifesting. Emergent manifesting, because manifesting works best when, instead of just having a vision board and visualizing and saying affirmations and that's it, when you look at your whole being, your self-view and your worldview, that's how you really manifest change. The whole being, not just a vision board, not just an affirmation, but your whole being. You see, that's emergent manifesting. So this graphic represents the journey out of your comfort zone. You got to go through the fear zone, and then you got to learn new things, and then you grow. You see, your comfort zone expands. So as you can see, the comfort zone starts off very small, and then once you start facing your fears and changing your identity to make it bigger, your whole comfort zone expands, and then you learn new stuff, it expands. You see what I'm saying? This is literally growth diagrammed for you. So I hope that makes a lot of sense. This is the value of personal growth, because it makes everything else possible. There's two journeys happening here: the outer journey, the entrepreneurial journey, and then the inner journey, the personal growth journey. Thank you. Right, so level 3, transcend hustling. These are the characteristics of this level. Core challenge is mastering your personal flow. Global population is an estimated 37 million entrepreneurs at this stage or this level. Financial state is these people are able to make sales consistently. They have extra money at the end of each week or each month to invest with and so on. And this is where we start to see six-figure earnings. In other words, $100,000 a year and above. And the team size, still, this person is usually a sole operator, perhaps with an assistant or contractor that they turn to for help every now and then, but basically a sole operator. Their team is not really a cohesive team like an organization. It's not a functioning organization. So they might have a team of 1-2 assistants here and there, and that is still a team, but it's not a functional organization. There's quite a difference there. Anyways, that's why we're still saying they're self-employed. And the typical experience, what it feels, looks, and acts like is at level 3, entrepreneurs feel financially okay, but they're still stuck, because no amount of extra hard work will get them to the next level. There's anonymity. People don't know them. The marketplace doesn't know these guys exist, even though they may have great products or services. You see? And we all go through this. This is normal, you got to overcome that anonymity. There's quite a bit of fear here. There's still frustration. There's dependence and, procrastination. It's still, procrastination is going to happen as long as somebody sort of doesn't have, the framework to make things happen instantly. That usually includes a team, systems, processes, whatever. But if you got to get up and think, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, how am I going to do it? And then blah, 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 and then I got to do it myself. Procrastination is going to be there, So this procrastination starts to end once people have a team, systems, processes, and that sort of thing. So at this level, the person starts to realize to realize something they had not realized before. And this is when it starts to become crystal clear to this person that more hard work isn't going to get them anywhere, because they're hustling harder but nothing is changing. It starts to dawn on them, shit, I can't get out of this position by working harder. The funny thing is that thought doesn't actually occur to them before this point. They think that I'll just hustle harder and the things will get better. And that's what we're all sort of trained. Society just tells us to go harder, work harder. But then at this stage, they realize they've hit a limit and it becomes crystal clear. And that pain of that clarity is what usually propels them to the next stage, which is building a team. But anyways, the challenges at this stage or this level is that the person, if you're at this level, you will usually do all the sales yourself. You will deliver the service yourself. You'll do it manually. You'll do it laboriously. In other words, automation is almost non-existent or it's minimal. People at this level are not really thinking of systems and automation. And then this starts to become a problem, because the person who is getting more known and getting more business and they don't have a system, processes, automations, a team in place, what's going to happen is that extra business is just going to overwhelm them. And that overwhelm is going to make them burn out. And then that burnout is going to start screwing with their success. You see what I'm saying? So this is a level where people start to realize, I gotta get a team. I gotta do something different. At least they start to realize that there's something they need to do different. And the favorite excuses or limiting beliefs at this level, or this level, is excuses that I can't seem to get ahead. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough skills. That automation stuff sounds too complicated. You know what I mean? Or making SOPs, making workflows. Man, I don't have time for that. I'm so busy. I gotta serve clients. So in other words, they resist doing the thing that they need to do, which is to work on their business, because they say they're too busy working in their business. And then yet they're saying that it's killing them. So they're stuck because all their time is occupied working in the business, yet the very thing that they need to do is work on the business. But then the excuse is, I don't have time to work on the business because I'm too busy working in the business. So you see where they're stuck? Yeah. And then other excuses include, I don't have enough time or skills to automate my stuff. I don't want to lose that personal touch with my clients by automating or by systemizing or by getting a team together. I need to do the right thing and personally work hard to earn an honest living. So there's a lot of people who actually, they're stuck in the belief system that working harder is what gives them a sense of self-worth. They think that they have to do everything themselves, work 10 hours a day so they can have self-worth. They feel like a loser if you could tell them, dude, you can earn the same amount of money and have the same impact by working, let's say, 1 hour a day if you have a big team. For example, if you tell them that, they'll feel guilty. Instead of celebrating and going, oh yeah, that sounds good, they'll feel guilty. You know what I mean? This is a personal problem. And a lot of people are in this. It's not, so if you're there, don't worry about it. It's very, very common. So now the goal at this level, so that you can get out of this level, if we can define one goal, is to fully master personal finances. This one goal encapsulates so many tiny little things that are necessary to fully master personal finances. Okay? Because when you think about it, you just don't want to have your personal finances mastered to the point where you don't ever worry about money ever again. Yeah, that's what you want to do. But you also want to know that if you stop working, your personal finances are not going to be a problem. Remember over here we saw that one of the excuses is I'm doing everything myself and I can't stop to even work on the business because I'm too busy working in the business. Well, think about it. If this person fell ill for a long term, like a couple of months, the business is gone. It's finished, destroyed. So mastering personal finances also includes having a functional organization that can do without you. So even if you disappeared for 2-3 months, it's still working. This is part of mastering personal finances. Do you understand that? So it's not about the fact that, I've got enough money coming in to pay my bills and a bit more left. It's the fact that even if I were to disappear or to stop working for 2-3 months, I'm still good. my personal finances. So that's part of this whole package. You understand? So anyways, so to achieve this goal, the main actions or steps to take so you can move to the next stage, is to, number one, automate your promotions. So there's a lot of things to do, but I'm giving the 3 core things that you gotta make sure it's done. Automate your promotions, find, attract, and convert new leads into new members of your tribe automatically, constantly, consistently, 24/7, 365 days a year using automation. So you automate your advertising, automate your marketing, automate your promotions. And this one thing means it's bringing new leads automatically. If you can automate this, you'll start to get the money to hire a team. Remember we said marketing is the number 1, 2, and 3 most important thing in a business. When you automate your marketing, boom, there you go. You start to really solve the big problem is, how do I get enough money to afford a team? That kind of thing, So when you have hour, if your ads are running 24/7, okay, and maybe you also have monthly, you have an annual schedule of promotions that are already pre-programmed, like you got a promotional calendar that's already pre-programmed, and when you have such a built-out calendar, so that you know that your offers are always going out to the market, your promotions are always going out in the market, and so on. This will directly affect your profit and loss, your cash flow, your balance sheet in your business. Yeah, and your current and future team members, once you start hiring, they can all sort of understand where we're going in terms of marketing automatically. And so now you see what I'm saying? You're making your life easier, but you're also making the life of your team members when they start coming in easier, You see what I mean? And this also means that you're no longer chasing after the money. Instead, you're attracting the money. You see? Remember, you've done your homework in level 1 and 2, which includes, refining your brand, your positioning, your messaging, and so on. And now once you throw in marketing automation, all of a sudden, people start finding you automatically and constantly. They're finding you constantly, they're finding you automatically. Instead of you chasing them manually and sporadically, they're finding you automatically and constantly. Do you see where that shifted? You're no longer chasing them sporadically and manually, you're attracting them automatically and constantly. Makes sense, right? So again, you double down on creating compelling and irresistible offers. You really double down on using marketing strategies and tactics such as promotional calendars, evergreen webinars, lead magnets, sequences, follow-up sequences, joint ventures, affiliates, seasonal promotions, special offers, sales funnel, and so on, all programmed in and all automated and so on. You see, ads, Instagram ads, YouTube ads, Facebook ads, whatever kind of ads, referral systems, whatever, you see, affiliate system, referral system, content marketing. This is all part of marketing automation. If you get that right, I'm telling you, it's happy days, you see. And then after that, you'll have a system for selling, you see. So you don't just have a system for marketing, but also a system for selling, you see. Anyways, so there's a whole lot to unpack right there. And there's also the idea that you got to measure all this stuff. You see, you have to ensure that you're not just paying for ads, but you're also measuring the effectiveness. You start to know your numbers, the numbers of your business, how many leads do I need to become, how many views do I need to get a prospect? How many to get a lead? Sorry, how many leads do I need to convert them into a buyer? How many? Do you understand? You start to know all these numbers. You start to know how much it costs, what your lifetime customer value is, what your click-through rates are, you see. So all these numbers, it starts to get sophisticated, and there is software that can track all these numbers for you and so on. I know it sounds like a lot, but this is where the game starts to change, This is where the game starts to change. And today this is easier than ever because we've got a lot of cool tools out there nowadays, Lots of great tools and lots of, For example, like you can reach people so well and so easily with, let's say, YouTube ads, Facebook ads, whatever. You can then automate your sales process with something like ClickFunnels and scripts and so on, you see. So when you've got this all put together, suddenly your revenues just start to skyrocket. And then step 2 or action 2 is to increase flow by treating everything you do either as a distinct project or a distinct process. Okay? Projects are things that add flow. Processes are things that maintain that flow. Projects and processes. Everything is either a project or it's a process. So, for example, creating or finding a new product is a project. To create a new product or to find a new product to be selling is a project. You do it once, okay? But then you manage it as a project, okay? Creating a campaign for, let's say, Black Friday, that's a project. You see what I mean? Okay? But then there are things that happen now over and over and over again consistently. So, for example, marketing and selling that product that you just created is a process, okay? And you repeat that process every single day, maybe every single hour. Does that make sense? So if it's a process, then you process map it into a workflow. Once you process mapped and workflow, you can train your team better with it. You can automate it. You can systemize it. So it's no longer up to you to just make shit up on the fly as you go, wake up and get busy, but it's more like, let's follow this process or workflow. Let's manage this project. This is where, you know what I mean? It's so much better once you start managing projects and processes. It's better for you, it's better for your clients, but best of all, it's better for your team. This is how you get team members that don't need to be micromanaged and don't need to ring you every 5 seconds for instructions, because you've got predictable workflows, standard operating procedures, project management, okay? So, projects are one-off things that add new flow, and processes are evergreen, repetitive things that maintain and grow that flow. Does that make sense to you? So it's a huge mind shift from thinking of everything as just another task on your to-do list. This is what most people on the planet do. They think in terms of tasks on a to-do list. So you gotta get off that thinking and get into the thinking of everything is either a project or a process. Because you can then improve your project management, so those projects are executed well, and you can document, flowchart, and measure your processes, and you can automate them, you can outsource them, you can improve them, you can scale them up. And that all gives you independence. You start to become free, you see? And finally, you can, seek autonomy in your projects and processes. In other words, you can hand this over to a team, yeah? You see what I'm saying? It's amazing. Then the third step or action is to sharpen your brand even further. Become even more of a specialist. Become even better positioned. Think about it. Who makes more money? Is it a GP, a general practice doctor, or is it a specialist, such as a heart surgeon or a brain surgeon? Obviously, it's a specialist, right? Or what about a general practice lawyer versus a lawyer who specializes in, for example, divorce cases only, or whatever. A specialist almost always earns more because, given a choice, people will always go to a specialist when they have a specific problem. They don't go to a generalist if they have a serious problem. The more you specialize, the more people trust you, the less they question you, and the more they pay you without objection, because they believe you can solve their specific problem because you've specialized in solving their specific problem. Makes sense, right? So decide what you will be known for as a top specialist in your niche. Again, narrow and deeper your niche. Narrow your niche even more, deepen it even further. And then this time around, install systems and rhythms that increase your mastery of your market by identifying and defining who and where its participants all are, You see? So you start to become even more of a specialist. You know who all the participants are in your marketplace, what the size of the opportunities are, what the latest developments are, what your perfect customer profiles are, what are their problems, their frustrations, their fears, what are their wants and dreams, And there are plenty of tools out there for market intelligence and analytics to help you with these heaps. I can give you, off the top of my head, 4 or 5 really great ones, Spark Toro and so on. Anyways, become a data-driven business, okay? And being a data-driven business is even, makes you even more of a specialist. Yeah? At this level, start using data to sharpen your brand, your communication, your value offers. So instead of using like just, oh, I think we should do this. Yeah, you can do that, but also look at the data. What's the data telling you? Let the data guide you. Data-driven businesses. So whereas in level 1 you might have used a simple research and gut instinct and thought rumination to select your niche and define your initial brand, at this level you now have more data and even more customers that you can survey and listen to, and you can therefore use deep data to get even more focused. So this is how companies such as Amazon started to dominate many years ago, by using deep data. Data-driven decisions are gold. I mean, intuition is great. I will always trust and rely on my intuition. But data-driven businesses work a lot better, because also you have something to go on, something to measure. Your team also has something to go on and measure and so on, okay? So those are the 3 things that if you can do, they'll contribute towards fully mastering your personal finances, because they'll contribute towards making a business that can sort of do well even without you. But even when you're there, it can do it can do better anyway. So it's these 3 actions will first give you more money, but also start to give you the ability to get people to come in and help you, and so you can step back a little bit, and get some space and self-care going. So, and let me give you a bit more of the steps. So we just looked at the 3 core steps. Now let's look at a few advanced steps for this level. So crafting a powerful value proposition and strong differentiation will be critical to reaching the right target audience at each stage of the market lifecycle. By developing an effective lead generation plan, crafting content tailored for different platforms, investing in social media campaigns, and forming strategic alliances with partners that share similar values and tribes, you can create greater impact and foster more positive relationships with clients, and also greater income. Okay. So automation tools must also be integrated into these solutions so you can optimize communication frequency. Yeah? If you don't have automation, you're going to do stuff just when you feel like and when you have time. But when you have automation, it will do it for you 24/7, whether you feel like or even when you don't have time. And then also, it will give you the ability to test and measure performance, and to be able to deliver tangible results predictably over time. Yeah? And to be able to convert your leads more efficiently. Yeah? To be able to increase your lifetime client value, and to be able to drive repeated purchases. So investing strategically in marketing activities tailored specifically by their synergy enables us to deliver unforgettable experiences to our clients worthy of a wow factor. So even the clients benefit from this automation. It's not just you, not just your team, even the clients, because then you can measure and improve the delivery using data, and the more you improve, you start approaching that wow level. And at some point, your clients will be like, wow, man, these guys, wow. They're just so professional, man. Everything is smooth as ice and twice as nice. Although we're talking about entrepreneurship, there's a lot of personal development that is needed on that journey. You know why? Because there's a trap. We are all trapped in something called conditioning. The way we were raised and the way we raised ourselves, because, we parent ourselves, but we also get parented by our parents, by our society, but we are also parenting ourselves. So that is conditioning us. Our society, where we got born, how we got, all that stuff is conditioning us. And it creates a trap. This trap is what we call, in quotes, comfort zone. Some people's comfort zones are very uncomfortable, but they're used to it. So they want to leave. They want to leave the comfort zone. What is a comfort zone? Well, if you think of it as like this pyramid on the left says, the human side sort of starts with identity. And then based on the identity, your I am this, the way you look at yourself, your self-view and your worldview, that is your identity, your self-view and your worldview. Your identity sort of then drives your beliefs and your values, and this then sort of drives the skills and capabilities you have, or you acquire, or you think you're capable of or not capable of, and then that in turn drives your behaviors, and that creates your environment. And at the very top of that, above identity, we've got spirituality and purpose. So to change your comfort zone, you sort of need to look at your identity. You understand? Like, if you don't look at how to change if a lot of people just try to change their behaviors. This is what I'm trying to say. A lot of people try to superficially to change their environment. Oh, if I get a few, paint this house nicely, and then whatever, my life will change. If I get a new house, my life will change. If I get a new car, my life will change. Yes, a little bit, but it's not real change, you see. And then others just try and change their behaviors. Oh, if I just start waking up at 5 a.m., or if I start like being more committed to not procrastinating, everything will be good. Yes, good, but it's very hard to change behavior without changing beliefs, values, identity, you see. And one great way, and now that's why we got this kind of like bubble above identity, you got spirituality and purpose. If you want to start changing your identity, you got to look at the spiritual dimension first, and then you got to look at the purpose. And then there are ways from there, from starting to investigate that, there are ways then it makes it easier to change your identity. When you can do that, it makes it easier to change your beliefs and values. When you do that, it makes it easier to, boost your skills and capabilities. When you do that, it makes it easier to have the behaviors that are useful or helpful to your goals. When you do that, it makes it easier to cultivate an environment that is actually congruent and supportive of you. You see? So this is sort of like, in summary, personal development. It's got components of spirituality, purpose, identity, beliefs, whatever, you see? So that's why we're saying the core driver of all this journey is personal growth, and then emergent manifesting. Emergent manifesting, because manifesting works best when, instead of just having a vision board and visualizing and saying affirmations and that's it, when you look at your whole being, your self-view and your worldview, that's how you really manifest change. The whole being, not just a vision board, not just an affirmation, but your whole being. You see, that's emergent manifesting. So this graphic represents the journey out of your comfort zone. You got to go through the fear zone, and then you got to learn new things, and then you grow. You see, your comfort zone expands. So as you can see, the comfort zone starts off very small, and then once you start facing your fears and changing your identity to make it bigger, your whole comfort zone expands, and then you learn new stuff, it expands. You see what I'm saying? This is literally growth diagrammed for you. So I hope that makes a lot of sense. This is the value of personal growth, because it makes everything else possible. There's two journeys happening here: the outer journey, the entrepreneurial journey, and then the inner journey, the personal growth journey. Thank you. All right, level 4, build a team. These are the characteristics. This level, the core challenge is mastering market flow. Excuse me, mastering market flow. We've now mastered personal flow, and now we start to master market flow. Global population is an estimated 42 million entrepreneurs at this level. Financial state, we start to see single-digit millionaires appearing here. Team size. This is the stage where the person is starting to transfer from being a self-employed person into being a business owner. So think of it like a bridging phase or a transitionary phase. Okay, so here the person definitely has an assistant or two, definitely has contractors. They could be outsourced or something, or managed outsource, and now they are ready to start building their own internal teams. They're well on the way to building a team here. Okay, so they haven't really become what we might call a business owner, but they're almost there. Okay, and the typical experience, what it feels, looks, and acts like, is that if you're at this level, you find that you love what you do, and money and opportunities are flowing to you nicely. In a refreshing way, like nothing you've ever experienced before. Happy days. You're now securely self-reliant, and you're very cash flow positive. But here's the problem. You're working overtime. Financially doing well, but stressed to the max. Burnout. everything revolves around you. If you don't show up, everything stops and falls apart. Everything relies on you and your one single brain for all decisions and ideas and everything else. Okay? And suddenly you realize that you've become your business's weakest link. You have become the bottleneck. You have become the greatest limiting factor for your own success, for your business's success. And because of that, you still experience, issues like procrastination, stress, anxiety, and everything that are part of that whole package of, being the one and the one and only person in charge of everything. Okay, wearing so many hats. Now the challenge is here. You are now definitely better at what you do. However, you now get stuck because you have maxed out your resources and your calendar and your time. There is no slack left. You are running at full speed and you cannot add any more time, any more speed. You have too many clients, too many opportunities, whatever, and too little time and too little resources to serve them all, or to take advantage of those opportunities, or capitalize on the opportunities, to provide a good service to all your clients, and so on. And all this limits your growth and your impact. And so you end up achieving only a fraction of your potential, and you can feel it. You're built for much more, but you start to feel overwhelmed. And then you start to feel isolation, because think about this. If you're spending all your time on obsessing or doing things to do with your business, you start to lose touch with people. So you start to experience some kind of isolation over here. And the favorite excuses or limiting beliefs at this level is, excuses that we hear at this level include stuff like, I have to do this myself. I really have to. No one else can do it as well as I do, Or, I don't have the money to pay for permanent employees, man. Or, I'm too busy to find and train the right people. That kind of excuse level. So, the goal here, let's talk about the success recipes and the goal. The goal here for this level is to build a team so that you can get unstuck. And the main actions to focus on taking, the steps to take to move to the next stage include, obviously, build a team. So here you shed your independent spirit and embrace interdependence. So interdependence, better than independence. So you abandon the notion that you must think or act alone. You learn to confront the fear of losing control, and all this will shift. It's a mind. All this is a shift in mindset that results in a life-changing experience. Having a team is a life-changing experience, by the way. Having a team will change your life. Okay? And by the way, now we're talking about teams, let's bust one myth or one misconception. A lot of people think that they're getting a team so they can delegate tasks to the team. This is wrong. You don't want to delegate tasks. That is like bad business. You want to delegate objectives. Not tasks. Tasks are tiny little things on a to-do list. Oh, I got this to-do list. Can you do this thing? And you do this thing. No, you need to delegate an objective. Like, for example, increase our market share by 10% in 2 quarters. That's an objective. That's what you delegate. An entire objective, not a task. And then you offer support to your team so that your team can achieve these objectives with excellence. They got support, they got the resources, they got the training, they got the tools. So you support them to reach objectives. You don't micromanage them at task level. No, that's just, you don't ever delegate tasks and micromanage them. That's just wrong. What you need to do is delegate objectives and support the team. Okay? And then let them figure out their tasks. Well, not really figure out their tasks, because by then you should have SOPs but what I'm saying is you don't need to delegate tasks. That's too small. Okay? And then you also have to switch from wondering how you get ahead and start wondering how your team gets ahead. And by the way, these are not easy things to manage for a lot of people, because in fact a lot of people might be even traumatized by this thought because of trust issues, control issues, insecurities. It can be traumatizing, and that's why personal development comes into play. Some people might find it easy, some people might actually go freak out about this whole thing. And also the responsibility of paying people, like knowing that you owe people salaries at the end of every week or month or whatever, and so on, you see. So those issues. And also some people feel shame for asking for help, or shame for realizing that they cannot do it all by themselves anymore. Some, people come up with this, and it's normal. If you're there, it's okay. There's help for you. And the second step or action is to build basic systems and processes, because get this, to have a team that helps you grow instead of adding more stress and chaos to your life, you can have a team and that adds more stress and chaos. So you don't want to do that. You want a team that actually reduces your stress and chaos and helps you grow. But to do that, you must have a strategic plan in place that everybody can follow, so everybody knows where they're going and so on. They don't have to keep asking you every day what we're doing. And then you need to have well documented and systemized processes, SOPs, workflows, projects. You need to have a weekly and a daily rhythm to keep everyone in flow. You need to have dashboards so that everyone can see the key performance indicators and milestones in a transparent way. Everybody has data, that information rather. You need to build the basic systems and processes to connect, to enable, and to empower your team, and to give you freedom and certainty. So you need SOPs, workflows, systems and automations, and a solid project management process, for your projects. Because remember, we said everything is either a process, hence you need SOPs and workflows, or it's a project, hence you need project management. So if you don't implement this, what's going to happen? If you don't implement this, you will be forced to micromanage an increasingly frustrated team. Your team will become more and more frustrated, and you'll have to micromanage them more and more. And this is just disaster, You yourself will go crazy with burnout and overwhelm, and your team too. So the systems and processes are what makes a business to be called professionally run and stress-free. Systems and processes and people. Systems, processes, people. So never think only, I need more people. In your head, it should be like, I need more people and the systems and processes to make that work properly. You see? And then step 3 or action 3 is dramatically improve your self-care. Trash the belief that working harder is the solution, because it really isn't. What you need is less hard work and much, much more self-care. Okay? And this is also a challenge for a lot of people, because we are conditioned to feel guilty about taking time out to look after ourselves, to enjoy, to chill out, taking time out to care for ourselves. So a lot of us literally feel guilty if we have people looking after us. Somebody give you a massage, somebody give you a foot massage, or whatever, like somebody looking after you in different ways. Self-care means other people are looking after you quite often. It's very hard to self-care on yourself. You know what I mean? So some people feel guilty when we are served, when we are cared for in various ways. Has that ever happened to you? Yet, this is exactly what you need at this stage. And if you don't get it, you will become a hindrance to yourself, and hence a hindrance to your team, because you're too stressed out and everything. And then that way, you'll become a hindrance to society and your clients and customers as a whole, in a way, So what the world needs is not for you to work harder. What the world needs is for you to be at your best. Means you're rested, you're restored, you're clear-headed, you're healthy, you're feeling abundant and good about yourself and about life, your inner resources are revitalized, and you can handle the big picture, and you can handle things, because of that. And so at this stage, you have to let go of the guilt of being looked after, of being helped, of self-care, And that's why you see, by the way, have you noticed that the very wealthy people are always surrounded by heaps of assistants, by teams, by self-care, you know what I mean? It's deliberate. It's not because they got money and they're doing, doing YOLO. That's not why they got assistants and self-care around. It's because it's necessary, So you will also need it. Especially as you start getting sophisticated and complicated like this, we're talking about teams, systems, whatever, you're going to need self-care, So that's how you expand your capacities, through self-care. Now, we looked at the 3 basic things you got to do. Let's look at a few more advanced steps. Again, we're just mentioning them, not really going into the details of how to actually do them. So Another thing to do at this step is to scale what you have proven to work. So remember, level 1, 2, 3, you start understanding what works, your marketing automation, You start to understand what works, and you proved things work and some things don't. So what you do is you take the things that worked, okay, and then you scale them up. Scale what you've proven to work. So you model the things that worked, So again, processes, SOPs, these are how you model them. And then systems and automation, so that you drive those models automatically. And then mimicking. Mimicking what works. That means you onboard and train people that you hire based on the model. The model is based on what works. Okay? And then what you do is you multiply that by adding more team members. Okay? Do you see how that progression went? You proved something works, you modeled it, process mapped it, whatever SOPs, systems, automations, and then you mimicked it, means you got a team member, trained them based on that model, and then you multiplied it by getting another team member and another one and another one. You see? And then each team member is so well trained they can even help to train the new incomers. But then you also have a training program in place, you see? So that's how you scale what works, what has been proven to work. And then another thing is to create the right metrics. Again, we talked about measurements, data-driven. So you need to understand what KPIs do I need for my business at each stage of the fulfillment, what do you call it? From, all the way from advertisement to fulfillment, your sales, your marketing, your finance, your delivery or fulfillment, your HR. What are the KPIs you need for each one of those things? Then build dashboards that show you this data. So by the way, there's a lot of software nowadays that does all this. Sometimes it's clunky, sometimes it's not, depends on what your industry is, but you'll find that there's a lot of software that helps one do KPIs and dashboards. It's not easy, but once you got it installed, maybe even get somebody to help you with that. Once you got it installed, you'll be amazed how it changes everything, because now you're running on data, key performance indicators, dashboards, and what you measure, you're better able to manage and to improve. So that's another thing you could do. And finally, let's talk about another advanced step you can take: an effective sales strategy. An effective sales strategy requires thoughtful planning and calculation to maximize success. So achieving a successful exchange in our transaction entails more than just offering products and services, like we've mentioned previously. So leaders in the industry must take into consideration their current standing, their customer service authenticity, aligned targets for employees that are inspired by clear direction from management, as well as automation, of CRM. Let's call it all general systems, automations and systems. So it's essential to determine how many people you have in your staff that need training. They're learners. Maybe on your sales team, they need more training. They need, let's say, scripts, tools, practice, so on. And also it's important to put in place a way to assess and measure average transaction values, conversion rates, by each team member, so on, and also as a whole, as an organization, and also to figure out how to upsell, how to cross-sell, how to downsell, bundles, packages, so that you can increase that lifetime customer value, or the value of each transaction, okay, or the number of transactions that customers make. You see, you need to think about training. For example, your salespeople can follow a script. So instead of just telling them, just go out, good luck, make a sale, get a commission, you actually give them training, you give them scripts, you get them to role play, to practice, and all that. And all the while you measure the results, and so on. And when you start to get all this correct, your customers are going to experience what we call the wow factor, because you're running a smooth running machine, a well-greased, well-tuned machine, you see. And that means all your team members understand what's going on and they can execute with perfection. You see, that's the difference between people who just add people to their business without really thinking through all these other things, and the people who do think through all these things. They realize people who go through the trouble of, here we talked about, modeling processes XYZ, building basic systems and processes. People who go through, putting together KPIs, dashboards, people who go through that trouble initially, it's more work. You gotta, because a lot of people don't want to think about this stuff. They just want to get on with it, hire somebody and get on with it. But if you do this right, you'll realize that you need less people. You'll have less stress. Each person will make you more money. Your customers will be better served. Your team members will be happier. Just by getting organized at the ground level, ground floor. And again, it all comes to this stuff. Systems, processes, SOPs, automation, KPIs, dashboards, training, onboarding properly, that kind of stuff. So I hope that helps. Although we're talking about entrepreneurship, there's a lot of personal development that is needed on that journey. You know why? Because there's a trap. We are all trapped in something called conditioning. The way we were raised and the way we raised ourselves, because, we parent ourselves, but we also get parented by our parents, by our society, but we are also parenting ourselves. So that is conditioning us. Our society, where we got born, how we got, all that stuff is conditioning us. And it creates a trap. This trap is what we call, in quotes, comfort zone. Some people's comfort zones are very uncomfortable, but they're used to it. So they want to leave. They want to leave the comfort zone. What is a comfort zone? Well, if you think of it as like this pyramid on the left says, the human side sort of starts with identity. And then based on the identity, your I am this. The way you look at yourself, your self-view and your worldview, that is your identity, your self-view and your worldview. Your identity sort of then drives your beliefs and your values, and this then sort of drives the skills and capabilities you have, or you acquire, or you think you're capable of or not capable of. And then that in turn drives your behaviors, and that creates your environment. And at the very top of that, above identity, we've got spirituality and purpose. So to change your comfort zone, you sort of need to look at your identity. You understand? Like, if you don't look at how to change if a lot of people just try to change their behaviors. This is what I'm trying to say. A lot of people try to superficially to change their environment. Oh, if I get a few, paint this house nicely, and then whatever, my life will change. If I get a new house, my life will change. If I get a new car, my life will change. Yes, a little bit, but it's not real change, you see. And then others just try and change their behaviors. Oh, if I just start waking up at 5 a.m., or if I start being more committed to not procrastinating, everything will be good. Yes, good, but it's very hard to change behavior without changing beliefs, values, identity, you see. And one great way, and now that's why we got this kind of like bubble above identity, you got spirituality and purpose. If you want to start changing your identity, you got to look at the spiritual dimension first, and then you got to look at the purpose. And then there are ways from starting to investigate that, there are ways then it makes it easier to change your identity. When you can do that, it makes it easier to change your beliefs and values. When you do that, it makes it easier to, boost your skills and capabilities. When you do that, it makes it easier to have the behaviors that are useful or helpful to your goals. When you do that, it makes it easier to cultivate an environment that is actually congruent and supportive of you. You see? So this is sort of like, in summary, personal development. It's got components of spirituality, purpose, identity, beliefs, whatever, you see? So that's why we're saying the core driver of all this journey is personal growth. And then emergent manifesting. Because manifesting works best when, instead of just having a vision board and visualizing and saying affirmations and that's it, when you look at your whole being, your self-view and your worldview, that's how you really manifest change. The whole being, not just a vision board, not just an affirmation, but your whole being. You see, that's emergent manifesting. So this graphic represents the journey out of your comfort zone. You got to go through the fear zone, and then you got to learn new things, and then you grow. You see, your comfort zone expands. So as you can see, the comfort zone starts off very small, and then once you start facing your fears and changing your identity to make it bigger, your whole comfort zone expands, and then you learn new stuff, it expands. You see what I'm saying? This is literally growth diagrammed for you. So I hope that makes a lot of sense. This is the value of personal growth, because it makes everything else possible. There's two journeys happening here: the outer journey, the entrepreneurial journey, and then the inner journey. The personal growth journey. Thank you. Lead a team. This is level 5. What are the characteristics? The core challenge, once again, is mastering market flow. Global population is an estimated 15 million entrepreneurs at this level. Financial state is, we start to see many single-digit millionaires here. There are many, many heaps of them, earning up to roughly $3 million, generally speaking. And this person can now truly be called a business owner, and their team size is a single team, and that team depends on this business owner. So this business owner is really part of the team. Let's call it that. You know what I mean? It's a bunch of people working together now. Let's call it that. A single team that is dependent on the business owner for a lot of things, In other words, they're not an independent team. They're not a self-led team. And they're definitely not yet a professionally managed team. But they're a team, and that's important. That's good. So typical experience here is that your time and tasks are delegated. Even better, your objectives, your business goals, your business outcomes are delegated. So not just tasks, but goals, outcomes, objectives are delegated. And then you start to feel free, you start to feel powerful, you start to feel capable. The whole procrastination thing starts to disappear. And the difference with the previous levels is that the focus is not on you anymore. It's now on your team. It's not about how you personally create value, how you personally make money, how you personally become better. No, it's now about how your team members get better, create value, and make more money for the whole organization. So it's about building the culture of the team as a whole. And it's about measuring everything and having systems in place. Here, higher level opportunities come to you now more than they ever did before, and you can handle them with the help of your team. You see? You're no longer like, oh yeah, I'm overwhelmed, procrastinate, or whatever, or now you're cool, you're like, yeah, we'll do that, because you're we now, you're no longer me. So the challenges at this level, challenges include team politics, loss of some types of personal freedoms, because you're now exposed to new strangers at a fairly close level, and plus you now have the cost of maintaining a team, so that's also a challenge to consider. That's why you needed to fix your marketing and made it earlier, so that way you're guaranteed the money to pay the team now. Do you see how everything sort of has its time? Okay, favorite excuses or limiting beliefs. There is one excuse here that prevents people from moving forward. If there is one, it's this one. I am the only one who can lead my team. Does that make sense? This is the biggest excuse that prevents people from moving forward. The idea that they are the only one that can lead that team. This excuse spells out the biggest fear that many entrepreneurs face, which is the fear of letting go of leadership, letting go of control of their team and giving that control to a leader, another leader, a trusted leader, somebody else to lead the team for them. This is the biggest one at this level. Now, the goal here is to evolve the team into a well-oiled machine, because this will prepare you to then, in the next level, recruit leadership for that team. Remember, we just said the biggest excuse is, I'm the only one who can lead this team. So you need to get off that and get somebody else to lead your team for you. But to do that, you need to evolve your team into a well-oiled machine. And so, therefore, the main actions to focus on taking, the steps to take to move you to the next stage include ensuring, number one, ensuring that your business generates substantial cash flow to make payroll, okay? Nobody wants to come and manage your team and have payroll issues. So you need to figure that out before you hire in a team leader. So ensuring that your business generates substantial cash to make payroll within a trusted structure of systems and processes, so that you can attract the confidence and the loyalty of an A team and high-level leaders to work for you and to manage your team, your assets, and your business for you. Yeah. When you start doing this, when you have the money, you got the cash to pay the people, for sure. and it's all happening within a trusted structure of systems and processes, then you'll be able to attract and hire experienced managers or management, like, or even, cultivate them from the current team, either hire from outside or cultivate from within, hire from within. But, things like CEO, CMO, COO, CFO, that kind of thing starts to come into play once the structure is in place, right? And the money for it is also in place. Also, have a system and assistance in place to help you keep your balance and to stay well informed, flexible, and well taken care of. Okay? By the way, we're talking of teams, yeah? You don't have to hire from within your local geography. You know that, right? There's a lot of assistance out there. Like, for example, I get a lot of help. Like, my team members, most of them come from the Philippines, and some are hired directly, some through managed outsource companies like getmagic.com, and so on. So you don't have to live in the same town with your team. I'm saying it depends on your business, right? Anyways, but whether they're remote or they're local, you still need the same systems, process, XYZ. Like, having a remote team member or local doesn't mean that you can let go of these things we're talking about. Okay. So number 2, or action 2, step 2, is also have a system and assistance in place to help you keep your balance, and so to help you stay well informed, to help you stay flexible, and to help you stay well taken care of. So you've got the number 1 is talking about systems and processes for the team, but now you need one for you, to keep your remember, as your complexity is increasing, you need people to help you personally within your business. So this is where you start talking of having an assistant for yourself, okay? And systems for yourself, okay? Number 3 is you really have to invest in learning how to groom leaders, how to lead leaders, how to train leaders, how to mentor leaders. And that is a big behavioral and skill change. And we're not taught this. Nobody ever teaches us in school this stuff, or even at home. Most of us never learn this stuff at home or at school or whatever. We don't learn how to groom, train, manage, and lead leaders. That means you have to find people who are above you and skilled at this to teach you and to mentor you on how to do this. Because, dude, you don't know how to do it. Most likely, I'm not saying you personally maybe don't know. Maybe you do, but most people don't know. They think they know, but they don't. They'll make it up. They'll make shit up as they go, but they're making bad shit up. Leadership has been studied for years and years, hundreds of years. And there are best practices. There are things to know, whatever. You don't need to be reinventing the wheel and trying to figure out how to lead teams and thinking that you'll just fucking wing it and it'll work. It may, but you're taking a risk that it may not. So if I were you, if you haven't grown up in a household that was accustomed to leaders and leadership and training leaders and all that, you have to get help, learn from somewhere. And then you have to implement a leadership development system in your business. By the way, we're using big words, but sometimes these things are very small things well done. Small things well done. So leadership development system, it might sound like a big Harvard University thing, but not necessarily. It doesn't have to be like that. It could be as simple as I don't want to give you ideas here and make you think that you've got the answer. You need to, get the full knowledge on what a leadership development system is for your type of business at your particular level. Anyways, it will help you cultivate high performance and to cultivate leaders from within your ranks. If you have a leadership development system in your business, automatically it will help you cultivate high performance leaders from within your ranks and to attract high performance leaders from outside. It is the only way to get ahead when it comes to this level. So recognize that for most of us, while growing up, we were taught to stay in control. And so this step is telling us to let go of control. So it's going to feel scary. That's normal. Okay, expect that. It's normal. You're not special if you feel scared about this. It's normal. Yeah, it feels scary to hand over control to others. That's normal. Yet we must cross this bridge. We must drop that fear and manage that fear once again with a environment of trusted processes, systems, checks and balances. And then we need to embrace this as a total new reality. This is a new reality. Embrace it. Be realistic about it and say, this is new. I may not understand this, but I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to learn about it and so on. So this, by the way, tends to be easier for people who've played team sports or professional sports, or people who've been in the military, or maybe even people who've been born into wealthy families who are accustomed to running big businesses. But for the vast majority of people, this is very foreign territory. So don't fool yourself if you don't come from this kind of societies or this kind of military whatever, and you don't understand leadership and teams and XYZ. You better accept that and then know that there's a learning curve here that's going to happen. Okay, don't just try and wing it. It's not going to end up very well usually. It might, but I'd rather you don't try and reinvent the wheel. Instead, go find what works and model it, copy it. Anyways, and then advanced step, something I gotta say here is leadership, team culture and values, and workforce planning are the key components to any successful team strategy. Okay, it begins with an organization chart that outlines job functions, and then a mix of team members who possess both culture fit and skills for that position that they're hired for. Yeah. And then to ensure success in onboarding these new hires, you must hire slowly. Be detailed, be careful, be present when you're hiring, not just, come in, jump in, let's see how you go. No, you really, really, really figure out who is this person, what are they capable of, blah, blah, blah. So hire slowly, hire quality, A players, okay? Because if you hire one C player and you chuck him into a team of A players, the C player will ruin the whole swimming pool. It's like a kid who pisses in the pool, ruins the swim for everybody. So you don't want to chuck in random people, they'll ruin it for everyone. So hire slowly, but fire quickly when needed. If you need to fire somebody, don't drag your feet, just do it quickly when it needs to happen. So, and then focus on retaining people, the good people. Really do a good job. Realize how fortunate you are to have great people, and so look after them, retain them. Anyways, all this we've said, this keeps motivation high throughout your organization. Training and development opportunities should be offered regularly to retain quality employees while encouraging results-oriented behavior. Accountability structures should be implemented to, they can help these people achieve these goals too. Lastly, don't forget about creating a fun work atmosphere. It needs to be fun to work with you or for you. Yeah? So don't make it dry and boring. Make it fun. Although we're talking about entrepreneurship, there's a lot of personal development that is needed on that journey. You know why? Because there's a trap. We are all trapped in something called conditioning. The way we were raised and the way we raised ourselves, because, we parent ourselves, but we also get parented by our parents, by our society, but we are also parenting ourselves. So that is conditioning us. Our society, where we got born, how we got, all that stuff is conditioning us. And it creates a trap. This trap is what we call, in quotes, comfort zone. Some people's comfort zones are very uncomfortable, but they're used to it. So they want to leave. They want to leave the comfort zone. What is a comfort zone? Well, if you think of it as like this pyramid on the left says, the human side sort of starts with identity. And then based on the identity, your I am this. The way you look at yourself, your self-view and your worldview. That is your identity, your self-view and your worldview. Your identity sort of then drives your beliefs and your values, and this then sort of drives the skills and capabilities you have, or you acquire, or you think you're capable of or not capable of, and then that in turn drives your behaviors, and that creates your environment. And at the very top of that, above identity, we've got spirituality and purpose. So to change your comfort zone, you sort of need to look at your identity. You understand? Like, if you don't look at how to change your if a lot of people just try to change their behaviors. This is what I'm trying to say. A lot of people try to superficially to change their environment. Oh, if I get a few, paint this house nicely, and then whatever, my life will change. If I get a new house, my life will change. If I get a new car, my life will change. Yes, a little bit, but it's not real change, you see. And then others just try and change their behaviors. Oh, if I just start waking up at 5 a.m., or if I start like being more committed to not procrastinating, everything will be good. Yes, good, but it's very hard to change behavior without changing beliefs, values, identity, you see. And one great way, and now that's why we got this kind of like bubble above identity, you got spirituality and purpose. If you want to start changing your identity, you got to look at the spiritual dimension first, and then you got to look at the purpose. And then there are ways from there, from starting to investigate that, there are ways then it makes it easier to change your identity. When you can do that, it makes it easier to change your beliefs and values. When you do that, it makes it easier to, boost your skills and capabilities. When you do that, it makes it easier to have the behaviors that are useful or helpful to your goals. When you do that, it makes it easier to cultivate an environment that is actually congruent and supportive of you. You see? So this is sort of like, in summary, personal development. It's got components of spirituality, purpose, identity, beliefs, whatever, you see? So that's why we're saying the core driver of all this journey is personal growth. And then emergent manifesting. Emergent manifesting, because manifesting works best when, instead of just having a vision board and visualizing and saying affirmations and that's it, when you look at your whole being, your self-view and your worldview, that's how you really manifest change. The whole being, not just a vision board, not just an affirmation, but your whole being. You see, that's emergent manifesting. So this graphic represents the journey out of your comfort zone. You got to go through the fear zone, and then you got to learn new things, and then you grow. You see, your comfort zone expands. So as you can see, the comfort zone starts off very small, and then once you start facing your fears and changing your identity to make it bigger, your whole comfort zone expands, and then you learn new stuff. It expands. You see what I'm saying? This is literally growth diagrammed for you. So I hope that makes a lot of sense. This is the value of personal growth, because it makes everything else possible. There's two journeys happening here: the outer journey, the entrepreneurial journey, and then the inner journey. The personal growth journey. Thank you. Level 6, recruit leadership. And these are the characteristics of this level. The core challenge is still mastering market flow. The global population is about 6 million entrepreneurs at this level. Financial state, here we see single digit to double digit millionaires earning up to $10 million a year, roughly. Team size, they still have a single team, but now this team is starting to become independent of this business owner. So in other words, there's a leadership team leading this team, or there's a leader or a leadership team leading this team. So the team is now independent of you if you're the business owner. In other words, you could disappear for 2-3 months or whatever, and you come back, you find your business is still running, maybe a bit worse, maybe a bit better, or maybe a lot worse, maybe a lot better, but it's still running. In other words, the team is independent of you because it's got its own leadership leading it. And that's why we say this person now, this entrepreneur has now become a true business owner. You see, business owner, again, is going in levels. You got a team, you're a business owner. You got a team that has a leadership team, you're even better business owner, like that. You see, so there's levels and layers to this, right? Makes sense, right? Okay, so the typical experience, what it feels, looks, and acts like. If this is, if this is your level, you now begin to have a business that can truly work without you having to be physically present. Okay, you now know how to recruit, and you now know how to cultivate true leadership. And you have an independent team that has its own leadership. You're no longer involved in the day-to-day details of the business. Instead, you focus on working with the leadership team on the big picture. Yeah? And then they are the ones, the leadership team is the one that then goes to the rest of the team and does the day-to-day operations with them. So you just meet with your leadership team, I don't know, once in a while. Some people do it once a week. Some people do it, and we're not even talking about a long meeting, short meetings, whereby you're just going through the KPIs, the dashboards, and 1, 2, 3 strategy points. So it's not long meetings, but you briefly meet with your leadership team at a certain schedule. Depends. Some people do it often, more often than others, whatever. But anyways, and then you let them go, and then they're the ones who then carry out that whatever it is you guys discussed with the rest of the team. And even these meetings with the leadership team, they don't even need to be daily. At some point, they can even be once a week. The more well-oiled your machine becomes, the less you need to bother your leadership team with questions and this and that and the other. You see? And then the challenges at this level is that here you begin to have even more and more people working for you, and that number is growing. And you begin to not even know most of these people. They may all know you and call you by your name. Hey, how you going? Jane, hi, or madam or sir, or whatever. Depends on your culture what they address you as. But they know you obviously because you're the boss, but you don't even know them, And this can be weird, And then you also have hundreds of daily decisions that are being made for you by people you don't even know. And they work for you, but you don't even know them. But somehow you trust them to make decisions for you. So if you let go without having implemented adequate checks and balance, without having implemented good systems, good processes, good this and that and the other, good SOPs, a good strategic plan for the next 3 years, proper vision. If you let go without putting these things in place, then this situation can very quickly get very hairy and very chaotic, And if it does get hairy and chaotic, you will fall back to fear and to micromanagement. And you don't want to do that. That's why we first build out automations, starting by automating marketing, and then we build up SOPs and processes and everything. Then we build up, before we get the team, or even as we're getting the team, and that will then allow us to get the leadership team, and then that will allow us, so that all these steps build up on each other. If you try and do them in the wrong order, you might end up with a lot of stress and chaos, you know what I mean? So, and if you do it in the right order and you do it properly, you end up with increasing freedom and increasing prosperity. All right, so the goal of level 6 is to have an increasingly more professionally run team and business. A professionally run team and business, and increasingly so. So the main actions to focus on taking to move to the next stage include investing massively in communication systems. Communication is everything, especially when you're a team. And we're talking about communicating everything from data to feedback to just, stuff to, team building and morale to, metrics, KPIs, whatever, the vision, what needs to be done, whatever. Because now you got so many people involved. If your communication system is not well thought out and deliberately implemented, things are gonna crash. And a lot of people don't even stop to think about the communication system. They just add more people. Then what happens is you get chaos because the communication hasn't been thought out properly. They just add people and give them an email address. Such and such at mycompany.com. They think that's it. That fixes the communication because he or she now has an email address from our company. It doesn't. Email is a terrible thing to rely on. Excuse me. Except for very few things. You cannot rely just on email. You know what I mean? You need, Slack, Viber, there's a lot of things you can do to and not just the platforms to use, but also the rules of, let's say, for example, you can have rules around what system to use for certain kinds of communication, what system to use for another kind of communication. You know what I mean? So for example, you can say no emails in this organization except if you're sending X, for example, if you want to tell somebody about something, use Slack or whatever, So there's this communication system and also the rules. How do we communicate here? What do we use? Or you can use a platform like monday.com or a bunch of platforms, or 2 or 3 different, because one system is not enough. So you can have 2 or 3 different communication systems for different things. Anyways, that's a whole thing in itself. Number 2 is investing massively in leadership development programs. And number 3 is, sorry, there's something in my throat at the moment. Excuse me. Number 3 is investing in systems that allow you to scale your business. So you can see we're getting more and more systemized. Communication system, leadership development program, scale systems. If you invest in these 3 areas and do it properly, you start to solve your problems big time. And then here's some advanced steps in addition to the 3 key ones that we just saw here. Here's some advanced things to think about for this state level. Number 6, have clear organizational objectives and execution plans. Okay, so everybody needs to understand the vision. What is the vision? Where are we going this year, next year, 3 years from now? And then what are the objectives? They need to be super clear. The systems, people, processes, and operations are aligned with that vision and those objectives that we just talked about. So a vision, everybody understands. Everybody, not just the leaders. Everybody needs to know the vision, and then everybody needs to know the objectives very clearly. And then systems, people, and processes and operations need to be aligned with that vision and those objectives. Then another advanced step, action plan or thing to do with this level to get you to the next level is developing your leadership team. We've already talked about this, but specifically, what does it mean? It means at this stage you need 3 people: somebody who is a visionary, somebody who's a builder, and somebody who's a manager. Sometimes one person can do 2 of those jobs, but it's very rare to find a visionary who's also a builder, who's also a manager. It's very rare. Like, that almost doesn't exist. It could, but mostly doesn't. Sometimes the visionary and the builder are the same. Okay, like for example, Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg or or Elon Musk. Sorry, I'm just talking of men. I should have some female examples, I'm sure. But anyways, I'm just thinking of the guys who are both visionaries and builders at the same time. But that's also rare. Usually you don't find it that way. I don't even think Steve Jobs, for example, was a visionary, but not a builder. Steve Jobs he's a perfect visionary, but he wasn't building the things. He couldn't code. He needed, other people with him. Paul Allen and all them guys. Sorry, not Paul Allen. This other guy, I forget his name. The sweet guy. Big fella. I'm forgetting his name. Anyways, Steve Jobs' partner. I just forgot his name just now. Anyways, so even Steve Jobs was really not a manager. He was not a builder. He was a visionary. Sort of. You could say that. No, definitely a visionary, but very minor in builder or manager capabilities, but extremely great visionary. So you need those 3 roles to be covered in your initial leadership team: a visionary, a builder, a manager. Or sometimes, if you are the visionary, you can remain on as a visionary and then you hire a builder and manager. But these are leaders, not people to do tasks, but leaders, okay? And all these 3 positions need to have a high level awareness and understanding of the business and how they can add value to the whole, and especially working together. And then again, we come to talking about a leadership development program. So these 3 leaders are given a system and tools and training to be able to cultivate leaders below them. So you get what we just said. We said the visionary is one leader. They also cultivate leaders from within the ranks. The builder is a leader, but also they have a leadership development program to help them cultivate leaders below them. Manager, also a leader, also has a leadership development program to help them cultivate leaders, from within the ranks. So it becomes this like cycle that feeds itself. Like a positive cycle, a positive self-reinforcing cycle. The leadership development program is so important so that you don't have to start from scratch every time. Let's say, one of your leaders could move on and go elsewhere for whatever reasons, and then you're left stuck. So you don't want to be left stuck. You want to have something ready. That's where the leadership development program comes in play. So these are things to do at this stage to help you move to the next stage. Hope that makes sense. Thank you. Although we're talking about entrepreneurship, there's a lot of personal development that is needed on that journey. You know why? Because there's a trap. We are all trapped in something called conditioning. The way we were raised and the way we raised ourselves, because, we parent ourselves, but we also get parented by our parents, by our society, but we are also parenting ourselves. So that is conditioning us. Our society, where we got born, how we got, all that stuff is conditioning us. And it creates a trap. This trap is what we call, in quotes, comfort zone. Some people's comfort zones are very uncomfortable, but they're used to it. So they want to leave. They want to leave the comfort zone. What is a comfort zone? Well, if you think of it as like this pyramid on the left says, the human side sort of starts with identity. And then based on the identity, your I am this. The way you look at yourself, your self-view and your worldview, that is your identity, your self-view and your worldview. Your identity sort of then drives your beliefs and your values, and this then sort of drives the skills and capabilities you have, or you acquire, or you think you're capable of or not capable of. And then that in turn drives your behaviors, and that creates your environment. And at the very top of that, above identity, we've got spirituality and purpose. So to change your comfort zone, you sort of need to look at your identity. You understand? Like, if you don't look at how to change if a lot of people just try to change their behaviors. This is what I'm trying to say. A lot of people try to superficially to change their environment. Oh, if I get a few, paint this house nicely, and then whatever, my life will change. If I get a new house, my life will change. If I get a new car, my life will change. Yes, a little bit, but it's not real change. You see? And then others just try and change their behaviors. Oh, if I just start waking up at 5 a.m., or if I start being more committed to not procrastinating, everything will be good. Yes, good, but it's very hard to change behavior without changing beliefs, values, identity, you see. And one great way, and now that's why we got this kind of bubble above identity, you got spirituality and purpose. If you want to start changing your identity, you got to look at the spiritual dimension first, and then you got to look at the purpose. And then there are ways from starting to investigate that, there are ways then it makes it easier to change your identity. When you can do that, it makes it easier to change your beliefs and values. When you do that, it makes it easier to, boost your skills and capabilities. When you do that, it makes it easier to have the behaviors that are useful or helpful to your goals. When you do that, it makes it easier to cultivate an environment that is actually congruent and supportive of you. You see? So this is sort of in summary, personal development. It's got components of spirituality, purpose, identity, beliefs, whatever, you see? So that's why we're saying the core driver of all this journey is personal growth. And then emergent manifesting. Emergent manifesting, because manifesting works best when instead of just having a vision board and visualizing and saying affirmations and that's it, when you look at your whole being, your self-view and your worldview, that's how you really manifest change. The whole being, not just a vision board, not just an affirmation, but your whole being. You see, that's emergent manifesting. So this graphic represents the journey out of your comfort zone. You got to go through the fear zone, and then you got to learn new things, and then you grow. You see, your comfort zone expands. So as you can see, the comfort zone starts off very small, and then once you start facing your fears and changing your identity to make it bigger, your whole comfort zone expands, and then you learn new stuff, it expands. You see what I'm saying? This is literally growth diagrammed for you. So I hope that makes a lot of sense. This is the value of personal growth, because it makes everything else possible. There's two journeys happening here: the outer journey, the entrepreneurial journey, and then the inner journey, the personal growth journey. Thank you. Okay, so level 7, lead a transformation. Let's start with the characteristics of this level. The core challenge now becomes mastering global flow. So by this stage, we've mastered personal flow, we've mastered market flow, now we're mastering global flow. Now, there's an estimated 2 million entrepreneurs who are at this level worldwide, and their financial state is estimated to be between $10 million and $30 million a year. And their team size now is very interesting because now these people have multiple teams that are independent of them. This is the real investor. Multiple independent, professionally run teams. So not just one. A business owner has one. The sophisticated business owner, which is level 6 on our chart, has a single team that is independent of them, as a professionally run team, a single. Now, once you get into the investor stage, now you've got multiple independent teams, professional run teams. So once again, my favorite, the entrepreneur that I really look up to is Richard Branson. He's my favorite. There's a lot that I look up to, heaps, lots of them. I look up to a lot of them, many. But Richard Branson is kind of like my favorite one. And he's got, I can't remember how many companies, but lots and lots of companies. And he doesn't sweat it, trying to run them all. I mean, he's mastered the whole multiple independent professional run teams thing. He doesn't freak out. And they're in all sorts of industries, airlines, this, that, the other. So many different kinds of industries, you see. So this is yet another level of sophistication. So this is what an investor is. So when we talk about investors, we're not talking about, I bought shares, or I bought cryptocurrencies, or I bought real estate. Yeah, those are investors. But in terms of entrepreneurship, an investor is the owner of multiple businesses. Each business has independent, professionally run team. An independent, professionally run team. That's what we mean by an investor. Okay, so let's talk about typical experiences, what it feels, look, and acts like. At this level, you can now begin to have multiple businesses that all can truly work without you having been there at all. You can have multiple independent teams. You are no longer involved in the details of each business. Instead, you focus on key performance indicators, key financials, the main agreements that need to be done, big picture things only, and expanding access to big resources and key people. So you're sort of like this person who is kind of like now meeting and hanging out and connecting with big resources and key people, and pretty much that's what you do, this way you're connecting your businesses to these other bigger players, and you're only looking at key indicators, key financials, that sort of thing. Then you leave the rest of the details to your team, or your teams, multiple teams. You also hold monthly meetings with your investment teams to monitor your entire portfolio. You have your own personal financial advisor and your own personal lawyers that are independent of your business. You see that? It's starting to get sophisticated. So you have multiple businesses, but and each business, it's got its own legal representatives and all that sort of stuff, and advisors. But you independently as a human being have your own personal financial advisors and lawyers that are independent of the lawyers and advisors for your business. There's a big distinction right there. Okay, and you mentor and coach your leadership ring, and you set the big strategy with their help. So you don't just dictate the strategy, you actually set it with them, okay? And here at this stage, again, you don't need to be in the trenches with them doing the actual day-by-day work, of course, you really don't need to. Instead, you surround yourself with people who are a lot better than you at their particular fields of specialization, and then you empower them so they can be the best for you and the best for your organizations. Now, whereas in the previous level as team leader, you delegated tasks and jobs and outcomes and objectives, at this level, as a mentor to your leadership ring, now we're talking about a leadership ring, because you got leaders in multiple businesses, and together it's like a leadership ring. So what you're doing is now you're delegating high level outcomes and you're delegating success. So you're not even delegating objectives anymore, you're delegating high level outcomes and success. This is next level, next generation. Remember, at the beginning you might have started off delegating tasks, then you start delegating objectives. Now you're delegating high level outcomes and success. You see, it's bigger. You trust that your leaders will find a way to achieve the outcomes you set. You see, you don't even have to spoon feed them anymore with SOPs and processes and workflows, because they know how to do that themselves. They'll go figure it out. You just say, we need to do this. Yep. And you all agree. Then they'll go figure out even how to make all those systems and processes themselves. You don't even need to think about that anymore. Okay? So you trust that your leaders will find a way to achieve the outcomes you set and to make key decisions themselves autonomously. So you practice transformational leadership and you focus on growing your leadership teams and helping them excel. You have cultivated the ability and the authority to attract high-performing leaders for your teams, your businesses and assets, and you're able to own multiple businesses and assets that are all managed well and managed without you. So this is also the level where you start societal and global flow mastery. Yeah? Now, the challenges. You have even more and more people working for you, and that number keeps growing, and you don't even know most of them. It's even more now. And now you have thousands, if not millions, of decisions that are being made for you by people you don't even know, and they'll work for you. So it's similar to before, but just bigger, okay? So you must keep investing massively in communication systems, reporting systems, in investment management, and in leadership development. So this now becomes your now you can't avoid investing in this. Like, you better not save money on this. You know what I mean? You better spend money investing massively in communication systems, reporting, investment management, and leadership development. And because your teams are now really running the whole show for you, you must start to let them guide you. Guide you even more, even farther. Even to the point whereby you let them guide you as to how and where you need to be, so you can help them achieve the best outcomes. Like they say, look, we're having this event, we need you there. Okay. So you see, they're starting to run your calendar in a way, not totally, but in a way. So you're letting them orchestrate your moves, And the reason why you need to do that is so that you're in sync with the rhythm and the flow of your entire empire. You see, it's gone to the point whereby you gotta let them sort of, obviously through your assistant, but you gotta let them kind of control a little bit of your calendar, not completely, not full control, but there's a flip there that happens. And the goal here at this level is to have, again, we said, multiple professionally run teams and businesses. That's the goal. And to increasingly do this better and better. And so, therefore, to achieve this goal, the main actions or steps to focus on taking to move you to the next stage include, like we said, keep investing massively in communication systems, reporting systems, and leadership development. Number 2, start professionally managing your investments and your finances. This level requires a far higher level of financial sophistication and financial alchemy. The kind of stuff that even if you were in a university, you didn't learn this. You know what I mean? It's like it's next generation. Yeah, the kind of stuff that is not even taught at university. Definitely not in school, high school, or anything. So this is beyond accounting. This is alchemy, financial alchemy. It's advisable to hire a specialist, or consulting firm that already has mastery, or in financial planning and management and so on at this level, to come and help you with this. Otherwise, you might end up leaving millions or tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars on the table, because maybe you just didn't take advantage of a particular, let's say, tax loophole, or a particular, financing structure you could have done, or whatever. There's so much sophistication at this level that's available, but then it remains missing and hidden to the average person who doesn't have exposure to this sort of thing. So, you can find massive shortcuts and great time savers and massive opportunities that are otherwise hidden and invisible to the average person. When you reach this place, and when you hire somebody, whether as a consultant or whatever, who understands this stuff to come and sort of look after your money for you in this particular way. So either way, you will need professional money management to prevent shortfalls, also to handle emergencies, to build reserves, to finance acquisitions, to defend your capital from tax authorities, to take advantage of invisible opportunities and so on, to find shortcuts, to leapfrog things, and so on. Money can do amazing things at this scale if you know how to use it strategically. And in any case, at this stage, you're so big that any financial errors can literally result in catastrophe, So, you really need to learn how to use money strategically and tactically at this level. And this is a very sophisticated level when it comes to finance that the average person has no clue about, okay? And because your teams, number 3 now, step 3, because your teams are now really running the whole show for you, you must let them guide you even further as to how and where you need to show up, or where you need to be to help them achieve the best outcomes, just like we said, so that you're in sync with the rhythm and the flow of your entire empire. You would also need to turn over control of your schedule to your leadership team, in a way, not completely. They're not going to just ring you up and say, hey, you need to be here in 2 days, whatever. But you need to be able to let them tell you where you need to be. Let them guide you on where and you need to be next and what they need you for. Okay. And now at the beginning that might sound dangerous, to allow other people to set your schedule. But at this level, the organization is taking off and into a whole new reality. And your team leaders are usually more informed than you are on what's needed next. Way more informed than you are on what's needed next. So a system needs to be in place to allow the various team leaders to work with your personal assistant. So you need one personal assistant who reports to you only, and only to you. In other words, your personal assistant is your personal staff. They're not like working for your company. They're working for you. Okay? Now, the team leads work with your PA to schedule your time for you within certain rules and boundaries. So for example, you can tell them, look, I don't do this, I don't go, whatever. You can set rules and boundaries. But once you've done that, you let them sort of schedule you in a way, because they know much better, than you at this level. So, and then you don't need to figure it out all the time. So that's why you got a PA. So all they do is they tell you, hey, we need to be such and such a place in a week. Is that all right? Yeah. Okay, I've already made the arrangements. Okay, cool. That's it. You see? So at this level, you will need such a gatekeeper, such a PA, a dedicated professional personal assistant. Dedicated professional personal assistants. Now you start to see why these very wealthy people have an assistant walking around with them. Is this starting to make sense now? You see what I mean? Anyways, so those were the 3 key things to do. And now let's talk about a few more advanced steps. So again, marketing automation excellence. That just goes to another level, because now you start to see how you can have synergies within all the different businesses in your organization. So you got multi-channel, consistent, well-measured, and constantly improved marketing, plus schedule constant promotions and so on. Sales strategy to increase the number of prospects, close more prospects, increase lifetime customer value. Because remember, now you can even cross-sell and cross-promote between your different businesses. You see. So you've got these new opportunities, to increase your lifetime customer value, and so on. Then you need to train your sales team even better and give them even more power and even more tools. Yeah. And then you need to grow your leadership team even bigger. So before, remember, we had what? We had the visionary, a builder, and a manager. Now we need to add some more at this level. Okay. So now you got visionary, marketing, sales, people, operations, finance, technology leaders. And remember, these are for each one of your teams or businesses. And then also you need to be better at data and reporting so that all staff members, everybody from top to bottom, from the lowest to the highest, they all have the right data that they need on time automatically. So now it's no longer like, oh, let's wait for us to generate and run a report at the end of the week. No, now everybody has real-time data. Just think of FedEx. Like, how does FedEx or DHL or these companies manage to, even the delivery person who comes to your door has a device on their hand that, guides them to your house, and then you sign for the document when it arrives on that device, and that whole system then, you understand, and all that data is being measured, whatever, so everybody is connected, okay, data and reporting. And then also you need to invest in custom technology to eliminate inefficiencies, because think about it, you're starting to grow more complicated, you got multiple businesses and everything. Maybe you're using technology solutions that you bought off the shelf before, but now you need to sort of build custom ones that tie up your organization properly and eliminate bugs or inefficiencies that come, when you got like 10 or 20 different apps that you're using, and then you start having 10 or 5 or 10, 2, 3, 4, 5 different businesses. Each one is having 10 or 20 different apps, and it starts to become a mess. So you sort of need to now, this is why businesses at that least level invest so much in technology. You hear they're spending millions of dollars in technology, and you're thinking, what the fuck are they buying? They're custom building this sort of stuff. You see what I mean? So anyways, and then you need to invest, in terms of investing, you need to have an investment thesis. Both for, because you're buying businesses at this level, you're starting to buy businesses, you're also starting to generate a lot of cash flow, blah, blah, blah. What do you do with that money? And, how do you use it, X, Y, Z? So you need to have an investment thesis and then execute by it, so you can make the best use of your capital and your earnings. And then let's talk about operation strategy. Operation strategy you need an operation strategy to give life to the vision, to make the vision come to life. These bigger visions that you're now having, yeah. So you start to sort of really, you're getting even more sophisticated in considering what products and services are we going to produce or purchase. How are we going to build a reliable supply chain? What are we going to do with our stock levels, lead times? It's starting to get more complicated. So your operation strategy needs to be really looked at properly, so you can really leverage the strengths of all these teams and organizations that you've put together. Yeah. So it's the sophistication is just getting higher and higher. Now you start to see why there are very few people at this level, because very few people are willing to think about these things. Yet the funny thing is, it's not as crazy as it sounds when you have help. It actually becomes very easy when you have the right team members, the right help, you've got the resources to pull it off, you've got whatever. It's not that difficult. But when you're thinking of doing it just all by yourself, then that's when you get this overwhelming feeling in your chest. But if you realize, look, if you do it properly, you've got the right resources, the right teams, the right whatever, then it's actually easier than running a business at level 1 or 2. That's why you see people seem relaxed at this level, despite the complexities, And then here we're talking about technology. So unlock the potential of technology with a strategy that emphasizes digital platforms and tools and coherence in communication while keeping things simple for increased productivity. Position yourself to embrace speed through an easy-to-use, repeatable, and interchangeable system across different contexts that, Positioning yourself to embrace speed through an easy-to-use, repeatable, and interchangeable system across different contexts will help lay down the foundation for self-corrected usability. In a nutshell, is again that building the tech so that it best serves you guys in a very custom way. So the off-the-shelf solutions are starting to give way to very custom technology. And another thing, now let's talk about funding and finances. Funding and finances are the lifeblood of any business. Without a thoughtful strategy, it's impossible to keep operations running smoothly. But by capitalizing on revenue opportunities, planning for what-if scenarios with financial modeling tools and monitoring, budget reviews and cash flow analysis and planning, along with debtors, creditors, payment terms and conditions, and other strategies and tactics, you can begin getting set up for incredible prosperity. Again, we're talking about that sophistication in finance. Don't forget about building true wealth through the financial and investment alchemy available at this level. You've got new opportunities opening up for you, so don't miss out on them by not really looking, by ignoring the alchemy, financial alchemy. Magic starts to become possible, let's put it that way. You really get an unfair advantage, what is called an unfair advantage by the masses. I mean, you can get incredible amounts of money for like ridiculously low interest rates and payment terms and everything, and you start to multiply wealth. It becomes crazy at this level, and once you join the 1%, by the way, the 1%, how do you join the 1%? The 1% of people on the planet who earn the highest, guess what they earn? They earn about $900,000 a year and above. So once you're earning $900,000 a year and above, you've joined the 1%. Okay, round it up to $1 million a year, but to be honest, it's about $900,000 and above. $900,000 and above, roughly, you've joined the 1%. Now, at this super level, we're talking about, what was that? I think it was $10 million or something, right? Let's see what level this was real quick. Just go back the slides. $10 million to $30 million. At that level, you are exposed to opportunities that just sound ridiculous to the average person. I mean, that's why you hear the rich getting richer and incredibly fast, because of alchemy, the alchemy that becomes possible here, Cool. Now, and by the way, I'm not saying that's fair or not fair. This is not a judgment call or a morality call. I'm just saying it's available at that level. Now, and the final slide here for this level is, let's read through. An effective risk management strategy, so you need one, ensures that your tangible and intangible assets are well shielded from potential hazards. So you need a risk management strategy. You've got a lot to lose at this stage, right? So it's not even about trying to defend everything. It's just about being able to sleep at night and not worrying about it. That's all. So it involves careful contingency planning. And remember, you don't have to do that by yourself. You've got leaders now. You can rely on professionals you can manage to afford. It involves careful contingency planning to safeguard against financial losses, utilizing resources such as creditors and legal entities for further protection of investments. Additionally, you should have access to funds in case of unforeseen circumstances so that you can be prepared for anything unexpected when it does arise. And we're talking about big things here, big things happening. Anyways, of equally importance is cultivating a mindset geared towards learning new things, which will help with overall growth and maintaining personal health and well-being during stressful times. Also, having expert support on hand provides an extra layer of confidence because, when you know that there's someone who has experience and this person is at your beck and call. Maybe they don't work for you as an employee, but maybe it's a professional service or firm that you can ring up and they're there. They've got tons of experts in that particular thing. So when you know that there's someone with that clout and that level of experience to tackle challenging issues for you, and they are readily available, it makes you relax crazy because any situation that you come across is going to be that much easier to handle and manage. Do you know what I mean? So this is just the next level. Although we're talking about entrepreneurship, there's a lot of personal development that is needed on that journey. You know why? Because there's a trap. We are all trapped in something called conditioning. The way we were raised and the way we raised ourselves, because we parent ourselves, but we also get parented by our parents, by our society, but we are also parenting ourselves. So that is conditioning us. Our society, where we got born, how we got, all that stuff is conditioning us. And it creates a trap. This trap is what we call, in quotes, comfort zone. Some people's comfort zones are very uncomfortable, but they're used to it. So they want to leave. They want to leave the comfort zone. What is a comfort zone? Well, if you think of it as like this pyramid on the left says, the human side sort of starts with identity. And then based on the identity, your I am this. The way you look at yourself, your self-view and your worldview, that is your identity, your self-view and your worldview. Your identity sort of then drives your beliefs and your values, and this then sort of drives the skills and capabilities you have, or you acquire, or you think you're capable of or not capable of. And then that in turn drives your behaviors, and that creates your environment. And at the very top of that, above identity, we've got spirituality and purpose. So to change your comfort zone, you sort of need to look at your identity. You understand? Like, if you don't look at how to change if a lot of people just try to change their behaviors. This is what I'm trying to say. A lot of people try to superficially to change their environment. Oh, if I get a few, paint this house nicely, and then whatever, my life will change. If I get a new house, my life will change. If I get a new car, my life will change. Yes, a little bit, but it's not real change, you see. And then others just try and change their behaviors. Oh, if I just start waking up at 5 a.m., or if I start like being more committed to not procrastinating, everything will be good. Yes, good, but it's very hard to change behavior without changing beliefs, values, identity, you see. And one great way, and now that's why we got this kind of like bubble above identity, you got spirituality and purpose. If you want to start changing your identity, you got to look at the spiritual dimension first, and then you got to look at the purpose. And then there are ways from there, from starting to investigate that, there are ways then it makes it easier to change your identity. When you can do that, it makes it easier to change your beliefs and values. When you do that, it makes it easier to, boost your skills and capabilities. When you do that, it makes it easier to have the behaviors that are useful or helpful to your goals. When you do that, it makes it easier to cultivate an environment that is actually congruent and supportive of you. You see? So this is sort of like, in summary, personal development. It's got components of spirituality, purpose, identity, beliefs, whatever, you see? So that's why we're saying the core driver of all this journey is personal growth. And then emergent manifesting. Emergent manifesting, because manifesting works best when, instead of just having a vision board and visualizing and saying affirmations and that's it, when you look at your whole being, your self-view and your worldview, that's how you really manifest change. The whole being, not just a vision board, not just an affirmation, but your whole being. You see, that's emergent manifesting. So this graphic represents the journey out of your comfort zone. You got to go through the fear zone, and then you got to learn new things, and then you grow. You see, your comfort zone expands. So as you can see, the comfort zone starts off very small, and then once you start facing your fears and changing your identity to make it bigger, your whole comfort zone expands, and then you learn new stuff, it expands. You see what I'm saying? This is literally growth diagrammed for you. So I hope that makes a lot of sense. This is the value of personal growth, because it makes everything else possible. There's two journeys happening here: the outer journey, the entrepreneurial journey, and then the inner journey, the personal growth journey. Thank you. Hold trust. This is level 8. And these are the characteristics of this level. The core challenge is still mastering global flow. Our global population is an estimated 1.5 million entrepreneurs are at this level around the world. Their financial state is up to around $100 million a year. Team size, same. Multiple teams that are independent and professionally run. Again, the realm of the true investor. Typical experience. Here you begin to be able to move millions of people and millions or even billions of dollars worth of resources simply by your word. Obviously there's documentation, but the minute you say it is as good as done, basically, because people trust you and people trust your track record. In fact, people fight for the chance to invest with you, to give you money, to work with you, to relate with you, to partner with you, to buy from you. They fight. You know what I mean? So you begin to have ever increasing trust from your market and its participants and gatekeepers and so on. You know, the gatekeepers that would have given you problems before, now they can't wait to open the bloody gate for you. You know, they can't wait. They're like, come over, please. The gate's open. So, anyways, so trust becomes an even bigger asset to you than money. You know, it's like your word is gold. You know, your word is worth millions of dollars or whatever, billions maybe, I don't know. And it can create money. Trust becomes an even bigger asset to you than money, and it can create money literally out of thin air with just your word and your presence. Like literally, that's how crazy this gets, you know? And now, the challenges at this level, at some point, you might find that you need to help your customers and your suppliers, you know, your tribe, your peoples, to grow with you. Because you might be growing so fast that your customers and your suppliers can't grow as fast as your growth rate is unless you help them. It's actually quite amazing. So here the goal is simple, and it is to solve high level scaling issues. Okay, remember we just said that your customers and suppliers might need help. So these are high level scaling issues, and this is the main goal at this level. And because I mean, you probably have solved most of the other business issues. Now it's like you're helping your customers and your suppliers solve their business issues so you can grow. It's quite interesting. So the main actions to focus on to move to the next stage include number one, you now need to start investing in systems to grow your tribe, your movement. You know, your business now knows how to scale, but you may need to help your tribe grow with you. So you've solved all your scaling issues, yeah? You may also need to help your suppliers scale up with you. And you might even find yourself in need of doing mergers and acquisitions of other businesses to fill different gaps in scaling your tribe. So one way or the other, you are likely to reach a point where you must help your tribe to grow with you. So you begin to invest in systems that scale your movement and your tribe, you know, so that your suppliers and customers scale with you. Because at some point you will become a lot bigger and a lot more sophisticated than they are. So for example, let's take Apple computers. Apple started really small. Garage. Yeah. But as they grew, they had to help their suppliers to catch up with them. Like for example, I remember them having to help some glass manufacturer to build the glass that is on the, you know, that's used on the iPhone. You know, it's called Gorilla Glass. So they had to help them. They had to help the chip maker. They had to help so many of their suppliers become as sophisticated as they are. And they had to, you know, either help them or acquire them, you know, but they had to. So Apple had to help even their customers to shape up and rise with them. Like they literally had to educate us as their customers, and you know, literally had to help us, let's say with financing plans or with this, or you know, because we can't think as innovatively as they do. So they had to help us, you know. So depending on the kind, they had to educate us, you know. So depending on the kind of business that you are in, this may be something that you might need to do, you know, to educate your people, your tribe, your customers, your suppliers, you know, to help them, empower them to a new level of reality so they can step up their own game. Otherwise, if they don't step up, you will become stagnant. You will stagnate. You don't want to stagnate. That's boring. So because you don't want to stagnate, you got to help your crew, your customers, suppliers, everyone to rise with you, you know. And by that, there are many other examples. Apple is just one of them. There are lots of customers that help their customers. There are also companies that help their customers with whatever, with education, with finance, with better systems, and so on. You know, they help their customers, they help their suppliers, and so on. Right. And then number two, mergers and acquisitions. There's lots of companies. Do mergers and acquisitions to fill in different gaps or to acquire new revenue streams, and it happens all the time. The big giants do it at a dizzying pace. For example, once again, Apple. I don't know if you knew this, but Apple acquires a new company roughly every 2 to 3 weeks. There's no hoo-ha media buzz about it. It's just that's just do it and get it done. Every 2 or 3 weeks, Apple is acquiring some small company somewhere. L'Oreal does it. All big businesses, you don't even hear about it in the news, but it's happening a lot. Mergers and acquisitions. Then number 3 is investing in CSR, corporate social responsibility, and PR, public relations, at a higher level, at a very high level. This now becomes a thing, and this can be abused, unfortunately, and especially we've seen it being abused lately, especially during the COVID times and after, but even before then. But it just seems to have increased the abuse of PR and CSR. But if used wisely and well for the betterment of society and of the planet and of everyone, this is very important. And the reason why it's important is because at this level, you need to build trust within society, like, genuine trust, not like fake trust that some companies have been trying to do since 2019, 2020. We're living in a mad time, but when you use it properly, it builds genuine trust, good trust, with truth, not with fake news or whatever, but with truth. So build trust within society and also to give back to society. So these two are very important. High trust is crucial at this level. Yeah. And that trust has to be built within the business and outside of the business. High trust businesses always win over low trust businesses. I mean, high trust businesses get their doors open. Low trust businesses may make a quick buck on the short term, but they always implode because of their deception. Low trust businesses suffer in all sorts of ways at all sorts of levels. Whereas high trust businesses get all sorts of advantages and supports from all sorts of levels. And that is why CSR, PR, and general good ethics training and contribution become more important at this level. So I hope that makes sense. Although we're talking about entrepreneurship, there's a lot of personal development that is needed on that journey. You know why? Because there's a trap. We are all trapped in something called conditioning. The way we were raised and the way we raised ourselves, because, we parent ourselves, but we also get parented by our parents, by our society, but we are also parenting ourselves. So that is conditioning us. Our society, where we got born, how we got, all that stuff is conditioning us. And it creates a trap. This trap is what we call, in quotes, comfort zone. Some people's comfort zones are very uncomfortable, but they're used to it. So they don't want to leave. They don't want to leave the comfort zone. What is a comfort zone? Well, if you think of it as like this pyramid on the left says, the human side sort of starts with identity. And then based on the identity, your I am this. The way you look at yourself, your self-view and your worldview, that is your identity, your self-view and your worldview. Your identity sort of then drives your beliefs and your values, and this then sort of drives the skills and capabilities you have, or you acquire, or you think you're capable of or not capable of. And then that in turn drives your behaviors, and that creates your environment. And at the very top of that, above identity, we've got spirituality and purpose. So to change your comfort zone, you sort of need to look at your identity. You understand? Like, if you don't look at how to change if a lot of people just try to change their behaviors. This is what I'm trying to say. A lot of people try to superficially to change their environment. Oh, if I get a few, paint this house nicely, and then whatever, my life will change. If I get a new house, my life will change. If I get a new car, my life will change. Yes, a little bit, but it's not real change, you see. And then others just try and change their behaviors. Oh, if I just start waking up at 5 a.m., or if I start being more committed to not procrastinating, everything will be good. Yes, good, but it's very hard to change behavior without changing beliefs, values, identity, you see. And one great way, and now that's why we got this kind of bubble above identity, you got spirituality and purpose. If you want to start changing your identity, you got to look at the spiritual dimension first, and then you got to look at the purpose. And then there are ways from there, from starting to investigate that, there are ways then you can, it makes it easier to change your identity. When you can do that, it makes it easier to change your beliefs and values. When you do that, it makes it easier to, boost your skills and capabilities. When you do that, it makes it easier to have the behaviors that are useful or helpful to your goals. When you do that, it makes it easier to cultivate an environment that is actually congruent and supportive of you. You see? So this is sort of like, in summary, personal development. It's got components of spirituality, purpose, identity, beliefs, whatever, you see? So that's why we're saying the core driver of all this journey is personal growth. And then emergent manifesting. Emergent manifesting, because manifesting works best when, instead of just having a vision board and visualizing and saying affirmations and that's it, when you look at your whole being, your self-view and your worldview, that's how you really manifest change. The whole being, not just a vision board, not just an affirmation, but your whole being. You see, that's emergent manifesting. So this graphic represents the journey out of your comfort zone. You got to go through the fear zone, and then you got to learn new things, and then you grow. You see, your comfort zone expands. So as you can see, the comfort zone starts off very small, and then once you start facing your fears and changing your identity to make it bigger, your whole comfort zone expands, and then you learn new stuff. It expands. You see what I'm saying? This is literally growth diagrammed for you. So I hope that makes a lot of sense. This is the value of personal growth, because it makes everything else possible. There's two journeys happening here: the outer journey, the entrepreneurial journey, and then the inner journey. The personal growth journey. Thank you. Okay, and the final level is called the game changer level. And these are the characteristics. The core challenge here is still mastering global flow. The global population at this level is an estimated 480,000 entrepreneurs, or let's say 500,000. 500,000 entrepreneurs are at this level all around the world, roughly. About 2,600 of these, maybe 2,800 or something close to 3,000, roughly, whatever, something like that, are billionaires. So it's about close to or around about 3,000 billionaires. A bit less than that. I believe this number should be correct. 2,600 to 2,900 thereabouts are billionaires. And the financial state of these people is, again, from $100 million to billions. Team size, once again, multiple teams that are independent of you, professionally run. Yeah. The typical experience, how it looks, feels, and acts like. At this level, you literally are part of the few who make the rules and structures for the rest of society to live by. Through the products and services you create, through the businesses you own, and through the influence that you have. And if you happen to be a billionaire, you are in a class of your own. Billionaires are usually the tiny fraction of the population that will not tolerate most of the crap you and I will tolerate, and who will easily withstand a lot of the pressure you and I are unable to withstand. And that is why their lives sometimes look so alien to the rest of the people. I mean, think about this. Think, for example, Elon Musk. Do you think he'll tolerate a lot of the crap that you and I could tolerate? He won't. And do you think he can withstand a lot of the pressure that you and I are unable to withstand? He's proven that he can. So there's a lot of personal development. And I'm not saying these people are not dysfunctional. Some of them, of course they are. This dysfunctional. I'm not saying they're angels. I'm saying they have developed such a level of self-esteem and the ability to cope with pressure that you haven't yet. I haven't yet. And that doesn't say they're not dysfunctional. Some of them, of course they are. But there's the tolerance of certain things and the ability to, lack of tolerance of others and the ability to withstand certain levels of pressure and so on. This is a very defining factor. Okay, again, that is not to say that they are better than anyone. No one human is a better human than the other human. A human is a human. What I'm saying is their nervous system, their mind, their emotional system has undergone, okay, nervous system, mind, emotional system, so on, has undergone a level of conditioning and transformation that yours and mine has not yet. And until you get there yourself, you're not going to understand that. Until I get there, I'm not a billionaire yet. I don't know if I will be. It's not a thing in my mind, but I don't know. It happens. I don't know. I haven't really thought through it, but I'm not completely discounting it. Who knows? The point is, you too probably can reach this place if it's in your life path, or if it's in your life plan or life path. I'm not talking about what your ego wants. I'm talking about, spiritually, what is your life path, So if it is in your life path, of course you can, okay? If you're open and you're willing to unleash that inner being rather than holding it back. You need to unleash that inner being rather than holding it back. See, that's what people who play small do. They hold back their inner being. They're walking through life with their brakes on. So you need to release your brakes, unleash that inner being, become an untethered, soul, so to speak. But anyways, the sad thing is that most of us will never really know what we're truly capable of, because most of us hold ourselves back and we tolerate a lot of unnecessary nonsense and unnecessary shit and unnecessary tyranny. Okay? do you see what I'm saying? For example, even nationally, let's look, I was born and raised in Africa, and I can say this without fear of contradiction or whatever. When you look at the poorest countries in the world, the ones in Africa, you realize that these countries are actually very rich in natural resources and very rich in human resources. 1/3 of all the world's resources are in Africa. One continent has 1/3 of the world's resources, and extremely capable people, very rich in human resources. However, many of these nations, they tolerate a lot of unnecessary tyranny and oppression from within themselves. Of course, also from outside, the IMF system gives them hell, blah, blah, blah. So there's a lot of unfairness in the global system that comes to affect and take advantage of Africa. But I'm saying even within their own countries, there's a lot of, dictators, corruption, so despite being so rich in natural and human capital, the acquiescence to tyranny, that tolerating tyranny is their biggest problem, okay? And they hold themselves back. Okay? So this idea of holding yourself back and tolerating bullshit, it applies at every level, from personal to corporate to societal to global, to national to global. So right now as a planet, we are tolerating a lot of shit and allowing our home planet to be destroyed through sheer stupidity and greed and war and deception and all this rubbish. And guess what? We're gonna end up paying for it unless we rise up and set new standards for ourselves, personally, socially, nationally, globally. It starts with you and I personally. So billionaire is not about just getting a lot of money. It's about what you are willing to tolerate and what you're willing to handle. That's now we're talking billionaire. It's not really about the cash. I mean, sure, some people inherit billions and they really haven't developed themselves. But I'm saying, to go from 0 to billions yourself, this is a real personal development journey of epic proportions. It's almost like a spiritual practice. Now, the challenges at this level include public scrutiny. Critics begin to focus on you once you become a big, visible target. And as you gain raving fans who see you as their savior, you also gain people who see you as the enemy or even as the devil incarnate. You get some haters, man, sometimes at this level, proper ones. You are also at risk, but not of losing money. That money is no longer your problem at all. But you may be at risk of losing your life, depending on how big and how powerful you get, what industry you're in, da da da. And that's why these guys have personal security. They got bodyguards, they got this and that. So you you trade one insecurity for another, okay? But anyways, again, depends on who is at this level. Some people handle it well, some people handle it bad. Some people are benevolent when they're at this level, some people are malevolent at this level. In any case, many of them at this level learn to be at peace with these extreme highs and extreme lows because, again, the nervous system has been conditioned in a certain way. They're not knocked down by the same sort of things that might knock you down or me down, you see. And also another problem or challenge that comes up is at this level, you might become far removed from other people because you're almost like a freak. You know what I mean? They almost want to worship you or hate you or something. And then you're many layers away from your employees and your staff and your teams, and the decisions that they make from you. So, so there's a possibility of getting into isolation and loneliness. And there's also a possibility of falling into a loss of passion. You might lose your passion if you're not careful. Yeah. Now you can heal isolation and loss of passion by connecting with your community, of course. Like at every level, that's the thing. Go hang out with other people. Now that can be difficult if you're a big target, but it's the same thing, And also using the trust, the networks, the skills, and the resources you've built, you can use those to give back and to do big, good, great things to society. I honestly think it's time for billionaires to help us create a new earth in a new energy instead of collaborating with the sickness that we already have. So I think this is a time for us as we rise through these levels and we get these levels of powers. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We can change things. Yeah. So this is a solution for those billionaires that are, facing isolation and loss of passion, to really make the world a better place, a new earth in a new energy. Because here, if you're here, you can really have a massive positive impact on a societal scale, even on a global scale, if you choose to. This is a chance that is unlike any other. Unfortunately, very few people take it and actually do good with it, but it's there. Now, real quick, the goal at this level is obviously to make the rules, the systems, and structures of society. I mean, you've got your stuff sorted. You don't really have any business problems. There's always going to be challenges in business, but they're not your personal problems. You got teams and people to handle that for you. You might have personal issues, but also you've pretty much got people and whatever to help you with those. So what's left to do? Make the rules, the systems, and the structures of society. And be good with it. Because there's a lot of billionaires that make bad rules, bad systems, and bad structures for society. But you can be the one that makes the good rules, good systems, good structures for society, so we can have a new earth in a new energy. We literally can, Anyways, the three main actions or steps to focus on taking to move to the next stage here, there's no other stage, but to make this stage even better, or maybe even to transcend the ideal levels or whatever, is once again, you define your societal vision, yeah? And then you get buy-in from the public for that vision. And of course, they can help you adjust it. Maybe your vision is not exactly what would be good for them. But anyways, get buy-in or, collaboration or whatever from the public. Then number 3 is get buy-in, collaboration from the government. So those 3 things. And then once you've got that, now you can apply your resources and connections and networks and clout and trust and everything to make these visions come about. So again, define your societal vision, get buy-in from the public, get buy-in from the government, and then make the world a better place. So yeah, that's it. Giving back. That's the true calling of a benevolent billionaire. Give back in this way. All right. Although we're talking about entrepreneurship, there's a lot of personal development that is needed on that journey. You know why? Because there's a trap. We are all trapped in something called conditioning. You know, the way we were raised and the way we raised ourselves, because, you know, we parent ourselves, but we also get parented by our parents, by our society, but we are also parenting ourselves. So that is conditioning us. Our society, where we got born, how we got, you know, all that stuff is conditioning us. And it creates a trap. This trap is what we call, in quotes, comfort zone. Some people's comfort zones are very uncomfortable, but they're used to it. So they want to leave. They want to leave the comfort zone. What is a comfort zone? Well, if you think of it as like this pyramid on the left says, the human side sort of starts with identity. And then based on the identity, you know, your I am this. You know, the way you look at yourself, your self-view and your worldview, that is your identity, your self-view and your worldview. Your identity sort of then drives your beliefs and your values, and this then sort of drives the skills and capabilities you have, or you acquire, or you think you're capable of or not capable of. And then that in turn drives your behaviors, and that creates your environment. And at the very top of that, above identity, we've got spirituality and purpose. So to change your comfort zone, you sort of need to look at your identity. You understand? Like, if you don't look at how to change if a lot of people just try to change their behaviors. This is what I'm trying to say. A lot of people try to superficially to change their environment. Oh, if I get a few, paint this house nicely, and then whatever, my life will change. If I get a new house, my life will change. If I get a new car, my life will change. Yes, a little bit, but it's not real change, you see. And then others just try and change their behaviors. Oh, if I just start waking up at 5 a.m., or if I start like being more committed to not procrastinating, everything will be good. Yes, good, but it's very hard to change behavior without changing beliefs, values, identity, you see. And one great way, and now that's why we got this kind of like bubble above identity, you got spirituality and purpose. If you want to start changing your identity, you got to look at the spiritual dimension first, and then you got to look at the purpose. And then there are ways from there, from starting to investigate that, there are ways then it makes it easier to change your identity. When you can do that, it makes it easier to change your beliefs and values. When you do that, it makes it easier to, boost your skills and capabilities. When you do that, it makes it easier to have the behaviors that are useful or helpful to your goals. When you do that, it makes it easier to cultivate an environment that is actually congruent and supportive of you. You see? So this is sort of like, in summary, personal development. It's got components of spirituality, purpose, identity, beliefs, whatever, you see? So that's why we're saying the core driver of all this journey is personal growth. And then emergent manifesting. Emergent manifesting, because manifesting works best when, instead of just having a vision board and visualizing and saying affirmations and that's it, when you look at your whole being, your self-view and your worldview, that's how you really manifest change. The whole being, not just a vision board, not just an affirmation, but your whole being. You see, that's emergent manifesting. So this graphic represents the journey out of your comfort zone. You got to go through the fear zone, and then you got to learn new things, and then you grow. You see, your comfort zone expands. So as you can see, the comfort zone starts off very small, and then once you start facing your fears and changing your identity to make it bigger, your whole comfort zone expands, and then you learn new stuff, it expands. You see what I'm saying? This is literally growth diagrammed for you. So I hope that makes a lot of sense. This is the value of personal growth, because it makes everything else possible. There's two journeys happening here: the outer journey, the entrepreneurial journey, and then the inner journey, the personal growth journey. Thank you. Great. So here we are finally. We've gone through all the 9 steps or stages, and I hope you can appreciate now the value of personal growth in as you go through your journey as an entrepreneur. It's one of those things. The mindset is probably the thing that comes first before anything else, because you may very well know, and I'm sure you've probably seen this in your life, or you've noticed other people. Have you ever noticed when people, have you ever noticed that there are people who know exactly what to do? They mean to do that thing that they know what to do, but they can't bring themselves to do it, or they do it badly, or they self-sabotaged or whatever. Because Yes, knowing what to do is extremely important. The strategic, tactical knowledge, or the specialized knowledge or the skills, whatever, that's very important. But if your mindset and your emotions, your identity, and all that is not in order or is not congruent with that which you seek, then knowing what to do doesn't help at all. You can know what to do and still fail to do it. And so this is where personal growth comes in, because you can know exactly what to do but fail to do it because of your comfort zone settings, your fears, your self-esteem levels, your beliefs, your identity, your blockages, your inner wounds, and so on. Hence, that's why they say that success is all about the person you become. Success is not about acquiring things, it's about becoming a certain kind of person. It's more about being than doing. Yes, doing is so important. You can't get away from doing, but it's more about being. Being is first, state of being. Uh, you know, and then also, I hope you're appreciating the way that you can use manifesting or the law of attraction in a very deliberate way. So it's not just random wishful thinking or random, oh, I'd like this big business and and you haven't really looked at the details of what this big business means. Once you start to know the details, you can manifest more specific things within this big business idea. You know what I mean? So it actually helps you. And then I don't know if you've already had a chance to look at my other video on emergent manifesting, but you start to see that you can imagine manifesting is the most powerful sort of way to look at manifesting, because that is how life works. So when you've got alignment in so many levels, in your mindset, in your skill set, in what you know, in your vision, XYZ, then emergently life pops up opportunities, the right people to come across, the right, you know what I mean? So emergent manifesting combined with this knowledge you've learned about the entrepreneurial stages and your own personal growth is the key to unlocking this whole game or journey. And so when we talk about personal growth, mindset, emergent manifesting, the way we approach it is through this other system you can see over here, and what we do is we look at getting you connected, okay, then getting you embodied and getting you grounded, because that is what makes you aligned as a human being, okay, whereby you feel connected spiritually and to all of life. You feel embodied. In other words, you're not a fragmented self. You're not, you don't have all these different, or maybe you have parts, many, because we all have fragmented parts or different parts, to us. Our personality is not just a single personality. It's got many, many different parts, or you can say sub-personalities. And that's fine, that's normal. But then, a lot of us, we've been taught, especially growing up, especially if we've been traumatized, but even if you haven't, you've been taught to sort of fight these different parts. So there's like this sort of internal civil war going on within, and maybe there's internal wounds, or there's blockages, there is denied feelings, there's XYZ, you know what I mean? Parts that are shut off. So when you become embodied, it's kind of like you become one within yourself. And then you also get grounded, which means you're sort of you're very tactile. You're very you're here. You're present in this physical reality, in this here now, and you can take action on it, and so on. You see, so this is how we approach personal growth in also a very orderly fashion, so that we can change our self-view and our worldview in a very deliberate way, in a very methodical way. And then now, if you look at this chart you're looking at here, as you can see, it's also got 9 steps. I love 9 steps. They're really cool. Anyways, so it's got 3 phases, 3 steps in each phase, and then you got the 9 steps. And at the very bottom right, as you can see, it says go limitless. That's when you now fully expand your wings, when you fully release your brakes. And that go limitless is further expanded like this. Okay? So there's another video that really explains all these stages. So I know I'm not really doing a very great job explaining what each one of these stages is about, but that's not the point of this particular video here. I just want to show you that there is a method and a process to personal growth that can also be very, very deliberate and very structured, so that you tick all the boxes. You tick all the boxes and you get everything in alignment. And as you can see, just like the entrepreneurial journey, this is also a whole other journey. It's kind of like, think of it as two journeys that you're going through in your life as an entrepreneur. You've got your inner journey, which is covered by this and this, okay? And then you got your outer journey, which is the business end of it. And so you can actually use entrepreneurship as a spiritual practice for personal growth, so that you have both spiritual growth and worldly success, even as you increase your impact and your income, okay? Anyways, this concludes our 9 levels on the entrepreneur's journey, and I hope you've enjoyed that and you found it very useful. And now, since you have the complete map, you can easily make strategies, tactics, and visions to execute and implement based on this path. And so we can now safely say that the future is yours. Take it. You know, the future is yours. Take it. As the saying goes, the future is yours to lose, which means that the only way you can lose is if you don't act on the knowledge. But if you do act on the knowledge, your chances of winning have now been increased exponentially. Now, if you wish to get help with this for yourself and your business, we have a high-level one-on-one coaching and consulting program. Just click the link or button below or above. It will be somewhere near this video, below, above, somewhere. And you're gonna end up, when you click on that button, you'll get to a page that explains this program further. And there's an application form, because it is a program that runs by application. The one-on-one coaching is by application. I don't take that many one-on-one clients, just because, as you can imagine, time commitments. It takes, you got to be committed to somebody and work with them at a very detailed, high level, personalized, customized, bespoke level to really give them results. And so this is, like I said, it's a high level coaching program, one-on-one, very few people. I take maybe about 4 in a month or something. So if you feel this is for you, or you want to find out more and you want to apply for it, go ahead and click. So thanks again, and best wishes to you as always. I always want the best for you. Thank you very much for your time. Hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you.